Chapter 674. Xiangyi's answer was gentle and gentle, neither servile nor overbearing. She quickly won the favor of the viewers in the live stream. What kind of treasure is this girl? Cack. I suddenly realized that Xiangyi's EQ is quite high. Our kid is awesome. Baby, you're mama's pride. I'm from She Continent, and to be honest, I'm tired of hearing other people say that they hope She Continent will get better soon. But Sister Yi's words about wanting to taste all the delicacies in She Continent are so offensive. At the same time, the official live stream was also in progress. Dressed in pink and white home clothes and wearing a knitted tutu earring hairpin, Xiangyi was extremely adorable to the viewers, be it when she answered the interview seriously or when she smiled. We all know that Miss Xiang has posted the recipe for the medicinal cuisine on Weibo, but the audience on Weibo may be young people. I hope that through this interview, Sister Yi can publicize the recipe again so that more elderly people can benefit from it. Xiangyi nodded solemnly. You're right. Nowadays, the internet was developing rapidly, but the elderly seemed to have been abandoned by the times. Many elderly people didn't know how to pay with their mobile phones, use navigation software, or even use WeChat. Not to mention browsing Weibo and recording recipes. Other media outlets also recorded the interview with cameras and voice recorders, so as to create the widest influence possible through more channels. After all, that was what the media should be doing. Under the expectant gazes of the crowd, Xiangyi cleared her throat and slowly said in a voice that was several times louder than before, Uncle, Auntie, Grandpa, Grandma, can you hear me? The live stream viewers. Earphone fans died on the spot. Xiangyi is toxic? Why is she shouting? My ears are hurting. Those in front, you have hands and feet. Can't you turn down the volume yourself? Sister Yi is obviously afraid that some elderly people won't know how to turn down the volume and won't be able to hear her clearly. No one said anything else. Instead, in many families across the country, gray-haired elderly people responded to Xiangyi. Okay. I heard her. I heard her. This girl's voice is really loud. It sounds good. The little girl deliberately slowed down her speech and was extremely patient. She explained every ingredient and medicinal herb clearly. The reporters felt her kindness and all of them laughed silently. The official TV station also made an exception and extended the broadcast time for her. The channel was cold, but the people behind the channel could feel the warmth. Sometimes exceptions were needed. After Xiangyi finished speaking, she repeated it briefly and asked loudly, Do you remember it? In the live stream, the hostility was gone. Instead, it was replaced by positive comments. Remember, please praise me. Ha 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 ha. My grandma is listening so seriously. She even wrote it down in a notebook. In the past, I didn't realize that my father had a hearing problem. He was afraid of affecting us, so he always turned the volume down and watched the news expressionlessly. Today, when I saw him smile at Xiangyi, I realized that he could only hear Xiangyi's voice clearly. I'm going to bring him for a physical examination in the afternoon. The interview came to an end. Last question. Sister Yi, what do you want to say to your family? Unknowingly, the reporter who called her Miss Xiang also called her Sister Yi. Chapter 675. The fair-skinned girl blinked her long black eyelashes. I don't seem to have anything to say. A few bickering comments appeared in the live stream. Oh, you're not going to *CK your group's pet persona anymore. Now that you're famous, you've forgotten about your family. Let's be honest, can you get to where you are today without your family? Who would care about you? I'm dying of laughter. However, Xiangyi's next sentence was, I basically video call my family every day. If everyone is free, I'll also video call them together in the group chat. The Xiang family was much closer than ordinary families. Her grandparents, uncles, and brothers doted on Xiangyi, and it was never a one-sided relationship. Xiangyi would occasionally scroll through funny videos or read interesting books. Whenever she made a new dish, she would immediately share it with her family. The trolls? Sorry for the interruption. When will the live stream have a retraction function? If you can't come home often, then contact me often. The girl faced the camera with a faint smile. A hint of a smile flashed across the refined reporter's eyes behind his glasses. He suddenly understood the reason why those experts doted on her. Which elder wouldn't love a gentle and sensible girl like her? Then that's it for the interview. He was about to end the process when the girl suddenly said, "But I have something to say to him." The girl held Shui's hand, and under the latter's slightly surprised gaze, she said shyly but firmly, "I've always missed you." The man's eyes were deep and dark in an instant. Subconsciously, he grabbed the girl's slender wrist. His big hand held her small hand, their fingers intertwined. Ahem, that's it. Xiangyi looked at the camera. This isn't off topic, because he's also my family. Bang, bang, bang. Shui felt as if someone had set off a large fireworks display in his heart, causing his emotions to surge and explode in an overwhelming manner. His upbringing was the complete opposite of Xiangyi's. The relationship between the Shui family members was indifferent, and he was also very estranged from his biological parents. Father Shui's love for Mother Shui was passionate and grand, but also crazy and paranoid. Father Shui had a strong sense of possessiveness. In the beginning, he only restricted Mother Shui from making friends and going out. Later on, because of some mental illness, he directly restricted Mother Shui from going out. This was what civilization said. From a legal point of view, it was a violation of personal freedom. The differences between the parents were getting bigger and bigger. Every day, the house was filled with the sounds of quarreling, crying, and things being smashed. At that time, Shui's biggest wish was to have no family. But now, the gentle and soft girl was blushing from her ears to her neck. She was obviously embarrassed, but she still expressed her feelings in front of everyone and the camera. He wasn't just a boyfriend, it was his family. For the first time, Shui felt the beauty of this word. Yes, he responded in a low voice. His voice was hoarse and mixed with some inexplicable emotions. He was clearly happy. "I miss you too." All the reporters. Who would have thought that such a positive interview still couldn't escape the fate of being eaten dog food? Okay. Thank you, Sister E, for accepting our interview. I wish Sister E and your family happiness and health forever. The refined reporter closed with a smile. In the live broadcast room, the CP fans couldn't help but celebrate. I don't care. I don't care. This is the official satellite TV testifying to untimely couples' marriage. Chapter 676. Hello, everyone. I'm the Civil Affairs Bureau. I'm here. Hello, everyone. I'm the flower boy. I'm scattering flowers online. Heart suit. Hello, everyone. I'm Yu Lao. I announce that the red string between these two has been locked. I've swallowed the key. They must be together for the rest of their lives. The interview came to an abrupt end when Shui and Xiangyi looked at each other and smiled. However, the live broadcast was still ongoing. Thus, the audience in the live broadcast room discovered. The professional reporters, who had been busy just a moment ago, gave Xiangyi a simple and honest smile. Some of the more timid ones were so scared that they trembled. "Wh, what's going on? This scene is too much like a zombie movie." Everyone was too embarrassed to speak first. In the end, it was the refined reporter who said what everyone was thinking. Ahem, Sister E. It's almost time for dinner. We've prepared some ingredients. I wonder if we can... The Chinese language was broad and profound. The appropriate amount of blankness created an indescribable effect. Xiangyi immediately understood. Everyone has worked hard. Why don't you stay for a meal? The atmosphere suddenly became familiar and cheerful. Okay. Thank you, Sister E. Sister E, don't worry. I'll definitely only eat one bowl of rice. Oh, I'm so embarrassed. Sister E, I'll help you feed the pigs. What are you doing? Snatch the job. Let me tell you, I'll make it clear. I'll fight anyone who tries to snatch the job from me. The netizens. Fine, they were used to it. Sister Yi's routine was over. The refined reporter smiled and said, "Thank you for your hospitality then." The group entered the manor. Even though many people had watched the live broadcast, They were still shocked by the picturesque scenery of the countryside. There was a glass greenhouse, a large vegetable field, chickens, ducks, pigs, and geese, as well as a small rabbit farm in the distance. It was simply a place where the gods lived. The group of reporters rolled up their sleeves and rolled up their trousers, working very smoothly. The large yard became lively. The reporters had brought a lot of ingredients. After some thought, Xiangyi moved the barbecue grill that she hadn't used in a long time to the yard and began to process the ingredients. The meat was marinated with eggs, starch, salt, oyster sauce, and so on. She also specially marinated spicy and pickled pepper. Shrimp paste, chopped, mixed with cooking wine, egg white, bean powder, and a small amount of white sugar. The vegetables were washed and neatly arranged in white or wooden utensils to form a harmonious color. In addition, he took a 9-grit electric hot pot and skewered the fresh hand-beaten beef balls, fish balls, kelp, tofu, and other wooden skewers delivered by Little Rabbit Farm in the morning. After adjusting the taste of the soup base, it instantly defeated the odin from the convenience store. The fragrance filled the air, and not long after, the sound of saliva being swallowed could be heard everywhere. Woo-woo, this is too fragrant. I can't stop drooling. Is this house Sister E cooking? It's terrifying. The little girls she thinking thought she's down, the refined reporter asked curiously. Sister E, what's troubling you? Why don't you tell us? We can help you think of a solution. 3 cobblers are better than zhuge, not to mention there were so many of them. I'm thinking about what to make for the main dish. After a pause, the girl's gaze fell on the chicken coop. I've already thought of it. It's just those chickens. I think they have low blood sugar. The refined reporter? Xiangyi said sadly. Looks like I'll have to add more sugar when I fry them. The refined reporter? Chapter 677. The audience's reaction was exactly the same as that of the refined reporters. Little kid, are you as confused as I am? Chicken. Oh. Are you listening? Speak. Adding sugar while frying is okay. Sister E, are you trying to make me laugh to death so you can inherit my summer homework? The bullet screen was filled with heartache for the chicken. Xiangyi caught the chicken at lightning speed. The scene of killing the chicken was too gory, so the cameraman didn't film it. By the time the shot was taken again, the chickens were already in a row and lying cleanly on the chopping board. The situation immediately changed. Chicken bro, have a safe journey. Candle. A family should be neat and tidy. Dog head. So cruel. Sister E, can you send me a copy when you're done? I'm different. Sister E, tell me where your house is. I can send myself over for a meal. In the kitchen. Xiangyi was going to make rock and roll fried chicken today. This dish is very simple to cook. Everyone can try it. Xiangyi heated up the oil in the pot while interacting with the audience. After the oil was heated, she first added ginger slices and stir-fried them until they were fragrant. Then, she added the peppercorns to make the sauce smell. Finally, she added the small pieces of chicken. The soul of the rock and roll fried chicken sweet sauce was naturally indispensable. The girl's movements were neat, and her slender body had great explosive power. From time to time, she would toss the ladle. The audience cheered. I can do it! I can do it! After stir-frying the chicken until the water evaporated, she added bone broth to the pot, brought it to a boil, and simmered it over low heat. Finally, she added green pepper, small pepper, onion, and rock sugar to add a rich spiciness and freshness. After stir-frying it evenly, it was ready to serve. In the yard, the reporters had already eaten barbecue and odin. Xiangyi's special sauce was unanimously praised. This chili powder is amazing. It's worthy of being a super chili cultivated by a scientific research institute. Sister E actually knows how to make sauce? God, is there anything she can't do? The odin is 10,000 times better than the ones I buy at the convenience store. The meatballs are so fresh. Sure enough, the most high-end ingredients only require the simplest cooking techniques. Everyone couldn't stop praising her. They couldn't wait to write an 800-word press release to prove how delicious Xiangyi's condiments and meatballs were, until a strong fragrance drifted along with the wind to the tip of everyone's nose. The actions of the group of people were like copy and paste, and they all turned to the source of the fragrance. He saw Xiangyi walking out of the kitchen with a big basin. Someone in the live stream commented, "She's a guest. Isn't it a little inappropriate to put her in a basin? You should at least put it on a plate." This comment was quickly rebutted. "Watch if you want, get lost if you don't." Do you know why Xiao Ming's grandmother can live to the age of 80? Because his grandmother never meddles in other people's business. It must have been hard for you to grow up to this age. It's a miracle that you haven't been beaten to death after so long. This wave of attacks from the foodie fans instantly shut down the haters. Most of the time, foodie fans were very passive, but there was one exception. It was mealtime. Arguing at such a time was even more infuriating than throwing away their milk tea or throwing away their fried chicken. At this time, the young girl's clear and sweet voice, like the sound of nature, clearly passed into everyone's ears. The rock and roll fried chicken is here. In an instant, countless people in front of the screen, like swordsmen drawing their swords, solemnly and solemnly. They pulled out their chopsticks. Chapter 678. The camera zoomed in on the steaming hot rock fried chicken in the pot. The chicken was tender and fragrant. The broth was thick and the fried chicken was bright red, matching the color of the onions and green peppers. A thin layer of white sesame seeds was sprinkled on top. Just one look was enough to whet one's appetite. There was nothing fancy about it. There were only 3 words to describe it: fragrant, hungry, gluttonous. Gulp. In front of the screen, many people had already begun to swallow their saliva. The reporters in the courtyard weren't any better as their eyes were glued to the dish. "The main dishes are rice and stewed noodles," Xiangyi added. "The stewed noodles can be eaten like the big plate chicken and mixed with the broth at the end." Recalling the way to eat the big plate chicken, everyone felt that the deliciousness of this rock-fried chicken had risen to another level. The refined reporter had the most experience. He said, "Everyone, let's dig in." The group of reporters, like hungry wolves, picked up their chopsticks and picked up the chicken pieces. The most important feeling when the chicken was in the mouth was its tenderness. The faint fragrance of the sauce wrapped around the chicken. It was slightly sweet in the mouth, but the aftertaste was rich with layers of salty and spicy. The broth had completely soaked into the meat, and with one bite, it felt like the juices were about to burst. Paired with the steamed rice, it was no exaggeration to say that half a bowl of rice would be no problem with a mouthful of fried chicken. Paired with a glass of cold beer or cola, it was as if the depths of one's soul began to tremble. Strangely, no one at the table spoke. The only thing the audience could hear was the sound of food being chewed. F***CK. This damn stereo sound. I'm having a great time eating instant noodles in front of the screen. Today's fried chicken is so delicious. Director Lee, come out for a chat. Last time you said you wanted to update the equipment, it was all for the sake of filming food, right? Where's your original intention? Are you here to film a variety show or a mukbang broadcast? Xiangyi knew that Shui's taste was relatively light, so she specially made a light meal for him. The two of them sat at the side and ate the vegetables, enjoying the feeling of peace and quiet. "Do you want some soup?" Xiangyi asked. "I also made seaweed and egg soup. It's in the kitchen." Before Shui could say anything, someone immediately said, "I'll get it. I'll get it. How can I let Sister E work for me?" The man happily scooped the soup, but Shui's phone suddenly vibrated. He glanced at the caller ID and raised his eyebrows slightly before answering the call. After a few words, the call ended. He looked at Xiangyi and said helplessly, "My little nephew has no one to take care of him these 2 days. His parents want to send him over to stay temporarily." Xiangyi had an impression of her little nephew. She had met him during Xiang Yin's 60th birthday banquet. He was a decent and adorable little boy. The little girl had always liked the cubs of all kinds of creatures. Her eyes curved into crescents. "Okay, what does he like to eat? I'll make them for him," Shui felt slightly unhappy, but she didn't show it. She said calmly, "He's not picky about food. He can eat anything." As he spoke, the staff member led a little boy over and said somewhat helplessly, There was a couple who left the child behind just now. They said they were looking for Shui." Everyone's gaze simultaneously fell on the little boy she was holding. The boy was about 4 or 5 years old. He was delicate, and adorable. He had a head of naturally curly chestnut hair and was wearing a British-style shirt and suspenders. He also had a pair of well-polished leather shoes on his feet. The only thing that was out of place was his expressionless face. Chapter 679. Shui. Xiangyi stood up and called the little boy's name. Shui kept a straight face and nodded like an old man. "Hello, Sister Xiangyi." Xiangyi said, "Wow, you still remember me." It had been a few months since she had transmigrated to the past when she met Shui. It was rare for a child of his age to be able to accurately call out her name. She walked up to Shui and blinked. "Can I hold your hand?" Shui obediently placed his little hand in her palm. He secretly glanced at Shui. The man's face darkened visibly. He walked up to Shui. The man had a strong aura and looked over indifferently. Shui braced himself and greeted, "Hello, uncle." Shui said, "Hello." Then that was it. The uncle and nephew fell into a strange silence. The netizens were speechless. Were these two people biological uncle and nephew? Why did it feel like they were more polite than passers-by? Fortunately, Xiangyi came to the rescue in time and asked gently, "Are you hungry? Is there anything you want to eat?" The fragrance of rock and roll fried chicken, barbecue, and Odin rushed into Shui's nose crazily. The little boy used all his self-control to control himself and said the words, "I want to eat," in a reserved and appropriate manner. "Thank you, sister. I've had lunch." "Do you want to eat the cake? Do you want to watch cartoons? Or tell you a story?" Xiangyi was always very patient with cubs, especially good-looking ones. Shui's clear black and white eyes widened as if he couldn't understand. Was there such a happy thing in the world? He scratched his head uncomfortably and rubbed his eyes. Xiangyi misunderstood these movements. "Are you sleepy? Then I'll take you to take a nap. Okay?" The little boy pretended to be cold, but his voice had the unique tenderness and softness of a child. "Okay." Xiangyi held Shui's hand and left. The reporters smiled mischievously and winked. "Shuringdi. Sister E is quite good at taking care of children." "That's right. When are you going to get married? Should we consider having a second child? After all, the 3-child policy is open now." Gossip was human nature. Even famous reporters were no exception. Shui sneered and did not answer. Children, he did not like it. As for Shui, thinking of Xiangyi's attitude towards him, Shui couldn't help grinding his teeth. In the guest room, the staff brought over a car-shaped suitcase. Shui took out his pajamas and was about to change when he suddenly realized something. He looked up at Xiangyi and pursed his lips in embarrassment. "Sister, I want to change my clothes." "Ah, I'm sorry, I'll leave now." Shui was silent for a few seconds before he carefully made a request that he would never dare to make at home. "Sis, can you tell me a bedtime story?" "Huh?" Xiangyi was stunned for a moment before she nodded. "Okay, then you can change first. I'll go to the bathroom." Shui's eyes sparkled as if they were filled with stars, but he pretended not to care. "Yes, okay." He vaguely looked like Shui. Xiangyi went into the bathroom and called the system in her mind. "Help me search for a few fairy tales." Xiangyi ordered the system without any burden. "By the way, why have you been so quiet recently?" The system was silent for more than 10 seconds. It was so angry that it almost vomited blood. "That's because you blocked me." Chapter 680. Xiangyi's expression didn't change. "Oh, so that's how it is. System? I'm going to die from anger. I'm really going to die from anger." Although it had a high level of authority as a system, it still had to follow the most basic rules of logic. For example, if the host requested to be blocked or muted, then unless it was a special situation or the host actively called out to it, It could only be infuriated. After being speechless for a while, it said in an aggrieved tone, 10 fairy tales from different planes have been downloaded for you. Loading. Loading complete. Xiangyi was no stranger to receiving information. Soon, 10 fairy tales appeared in her mind out of thin air. She had to admit that the system was quite reliable. The fairy tales it found were more suitable for children, and there were no dark plots like eating children or turning into zombies. Thank you, thank you. Hearing the girl's gentle and polite voice, the little system couldn't help but roll around in the data stream. It had served many hosts before, but they were all especially Ling Yi, who would lie to it. In any case, compared to them, Xiangyi was like the clouds in the sky and the mud on the ground. The new host is so good. She even knows how to say thank you. The little system was delighted when it heard the girl say the cruelest words in the most gentle tone. Continue blocking mode. Thank you. System. Was this what the internet in this plane meant by happy only lasts 3 seconds? Why? Oh, was it not professional enough? Was it not good enough? It was clearly many times better than that idiot Xiao Naofu. Could it be? It was not as cute as Xiao Naofu? No! The frequency of the data stream fluctuated violently, and it took a long time for it to calm down. After testing the system, Xiangyi had a rough idea of what was going on. What she knew was that the so-called missions issued by the system didn't force her to complete them, and it even took the initiative to go easy on her. Xiao Naofu used to be so close to her, but if she couldn't complete the mission, it would punish her due to the restrictions of the rules. However, after the punishment, Xiao Naofu would cry especially miserably. In addition, the system's tolerance towards her was definitely abnormal. It was as if it wasn't in a hurry for Xiangyi to complete the mission in this world. Sure, Yu's appearance interrupted Xiangyi's thoughts. Elder sister. The little boy's voice was clear, and the outline of his round black eyes was soft. However, the corners of his eyes were curved upwards. Could be seen that he was somewhat similar to Shi Sui. When he grew up, he would probably also have affectionate peach blossom eyes. He changed into his blue and white checkered pajamas. Xiangyi felt that the cotton material looked familiar. You want to lie in bed and listen? Or do you want to sit there and listen and sleep when you're tired? Xiangyi pointed in the direction of the French window. This guest room was facing a good direction. At this time, the sun was shining brightly. The pea-green curtains were pulled open, leaving a layer of lilac lace curtains, sprinkling light into the room. When the wind blew, the light seemed to jump. There was a row of tatami mats on the floor, as well as a soft couch and several pillows. Sure, Yu clenched his little fists and resisted the temptation. He said seriously, Sister, I'll just lie on the bed and listen. But, Xiangyi smiled. I want to listen to a story by the window. Sure, Yu's eyes were obviously filled with joy, but he thought that he restrained it well. All right then, not making things difficult for a virtuous girl is the basic etiquette of a gentleman, he said with his baby fat face. Chapter 681. Xiangyi saw through the little boy's thoughts, but she did not expose him. She pulled Yu to sit down. Yu felt the softness of the sofa, and shock flashed through his young and round eyes. It turned out that there was such a comfortable thing in this world. He thought that this was enough happiness, but he did not expect that in the next second, Xiangyi would hand him a furry blanket and a rabbit doll. Here, for you. Under the sunlight, the exquisite girl was so white that it seemed to glow. Her skin was fair and clear. Then I'll start talking. Yu nodded stiffly and subconsciously hugged the little rabbit in his arms tightly. Soft. It seemed that everything in Sister Xiangyi's house was soft, just like her. All of this was something that Yu had never dared to imagine. The sun was warm, and Sister Xiangyi's voice was gentle. Yu did not take long to feel sleepy. Even though he adhered to strict family teachings and paid attention to his sitting posture, he was still young. Not long after, the little one sank into the cloud-like softness. Prince Lemon found Princess Orange and told her that in this world, every fruit is different, but every fruit is worthy of love. Yu was sleepy, but he still stubbornly asked, Sister, What if no one likes it? Xiangyi was deep in thought. For example? For example, Princess Durian. Sure, you used the fruit he hated the most as an example. His long eyelashes drooped, casting a faint shadow. What if no one in the world likes Princess Durian? Xiangyi was silent for a while and patted his little head. Maybe the prince who likes durian is still far away. If you wait a little longer, he will appear. Sure Yu's long eyelashes trembled. But what if he can't wait? Sister, you can't guarantee that your answer is 100% correct, right? After asking, he regretted it a little. Sure, you had an ability to express and reason that exceeded his peers. In a sense, he could be called a genius. However, the people around him would always treat him like a child. Even if he could solve a problem that even adults could not solve, he would only receive an impatient sentence from his father. What's the use of solving this? Or, they would be treated like monkeys by others. Sure, you come and perform a pie table. When he recited it, those people would often look surprised. Not bad, you're quite powerful. Then he changed the topic. But he's still a child. Learning so much will spoil his brain. Who knows? I might accidentally become Shang Zhongyong's. You were smart when you were young, but now that you've grown up, you're just like everyone else. There were very few adults who could answer the questions he asked. Whenever they couldn't answer, they would come up with all sorts of excuses to brush him off. Children don't need to know these things. You'll know when you grow up. Go away. Don't bother me. You can search for it on your phone and you'll know. Over time, sure, you got used to it. He thought that if Sister Xiangyi couldn't answer his question, she would probably be put in a difficult position. She would also be worried about how to answer him perfunctorily. Unexpectedly, Xiangyi cupped her cheeks with her little hands and said in admiration, "Sure, you're so amazing to think of such a problem." He was stunned for a moment. Then he heard the girl say seriously, "Everyone can have their own opinions and opinions. That's just my answer. What about you, Sure you? What's your answer? Can you tell me?" Chapter 682. Huh? Sure you was stunned. There was no rebuttal, no ridicule, and no perfunctory attitude. Instead, she treated him like an adult, respectful and equal. This was beyond Sure Yu's understanding. After his mind went blank for a moment, Sure Yu clenched his fists excitedly and expressed his opinion. "I think that other than the possibility that Sister mentioned, there is also another possibility. Perhaps Princess Durian will never be able to wait for her prince in her lifetime, and she might be hated by others. But it doesn't matter. She also hates others, so..." The little boy hesitated for a moment and did not dare to say his true thoughts. He was so smart and sharp, so he was afraid that Xiangyi would guess that the Durian Princess was himself. "So Princess Durian lived a happy life alone?" Xiangyi added the end. "Did I guess right?" Sure Yu looked up at her and then lowered his head to look at his toes. "Yes, you're half right." Xiangyi was very distressed. "Huh!" Her confused tone satisfied Sure Yu to a certain extent. He deeply felt that he was needed. Xiangyi's sister was an adult, but he could help her answer this question. The little boy subconsciously straightened his back and said seriously, "Because a person won't be happy." "I see. I think what you said makes sense, Sure Yu. But I want to refute. Just like you said, I can't prove that my answer is correct. Similarly, Sure Yu, you're the same. Why can't a person be happy? Just like in this world, boys can be with girls, boys can be with boys, and girls can be with girls. However, even if you don't choose, I think it doesn't matter. People can choose to be with others, and of course, they can also choose not to be with others. As long as it's the lifestyle they like, it's fine." Even if Sure Yu was a genius, the amount of information in Xiangyi's words was still too much for him. Xiangyi's point of view was something he had never imagined. "Let me tell you a secret. Sister likes her family very much. Her grandparents, her uncles, her brothers, and her boyfriend. But occasionally she would want to be alone. I like to cook. I'm happy to cook for my family, but I'm also happy to cook for myself. It doesn't matter if Princess Durian can't wait for the prince. She can still be a happy the little princess." Sure Yu's dark eyes slowly brightened. Outside the door, Shui came over with desserts and warm milk. The live stream was still going on, but it could not be filmed in the guest room. Someone commented, "Looks like Shuri is cold on the outside but warm on the inside. Although he's not affectionate with his little nephew, his body is very honest." Soon, a large number of comments appeared on the screen. "Young man, you're too naive. I bet all of Wei Long's dignity that it's all for Sister E. I think Shuri is jealous, ha ha ha." The thought of his girlfriend being in the same room with another male creature, even if it's a child, must make him feel uncomfortable. Hearing the conversation between Xiangyi and Shui's first reaction was to turn off the microphone. Then he knocked twice on the door. Xiangyi came over to open the door with a little Shota following behind her. Seeing how clingy the little guy was, Shui narrowed her eyes. Shuryu shrank his neck, instinctively sensing danger. Chapter 683. Fortunately, Uncle Shui didn't seem to be crazy enough to beat up a child. He handed the tray to Xiangyi and said indifferently, "I'm afraid you two will be hungry." Shuryu heaved a sigh of relief. Xiangyi took it. "Thank you, boyfriend. I'll continue telling Shuryu stories." Hearing this, Shuryu grabbed Xiangyi's clothes out of a childish desire to show off. He mustered up his courage and said, "Big sister's stories are very nice." It wasn't just stories. Her speech was also very nice. Shuryu was overjoyed. In just a short while, he wished that he could stay here forever. Shui stared at him for a few seconds, then lowered his long eyelashes and said in a slightly hoarse voice, "No one has ever told me a story since I was young." Xiangyi was stunned. Not far away, Xiao Naofu, who was swaying on a hammock in the cat villa, couldn't help but roll its eyes when it heard Shui's words. How could there be such a shameless dog man like Shui in this world? Although the audience in the live stream couldn't hear anything, Shui was worthy of being called the best actor. Just the action of lowering his head was enough to make people's imaginations run wild. Judging from Xiao Naofu's expression, Shuri must be an old green tea. Shui's acting is superb. Just the action of lowering his eyes and opening his mouth makes me feel so pitiful. I want to hug him. My focus is different from yours. Yu is still so young, but his facial features are already so good-looking. I have a bold idea. Yu, big sister can wait for you to grow up. Dog head. Xiangyi thought for a while, then asked tentatively, "Then, I'll tell both of you at the same time?" Yu's expression was slightly resistant. Shui, however, curled his lips. "Okay, thus?" A certain best actor swaggered into the room, forming a sharp contrast with Shui's dark expression. Xiao Naofu. Meow meow meow. "You! This dog man's tea skills are superb." After the three of them entered the guest room, the screen of the live stream went dark for a few seconds before changing to the courtyard. The audience was extremely anxious. Who wanted to watch these people eat and drink? Wouldn't that be too lonely? Everyone protested under the official Weibo account. Li Jianyu had a headache when he saw those comments. He was hesitating whether he should call Xiangyi and Shui out when the door opened. Xiangyi went to the living room and rummaged through the cabinets. He asked curiously, "Sister E, what are you looking for? Do you need help?" Xiangyi, "Yellow paper, cinnabar." Li Jianyu was dumbfounded. What the hell? Something for drawing talismans. The girl's answer shocked Li Jianyu. "Sister E, calm down. We can't engage in superstitious activities. Otherwise, the live stream room might be warned or banned. Sure, you can't sleep. It might be because of psychological reasons. I'll draw a talisman to coax him." Xiangyi looked calm. "We have to believe in science. From a medical point of view, this is similar to placebo." Is that so?" Li Jianyu was confused, but seeing how calm Xiangyi was, he didn't suspect anything. The girl took out her talisman drawing tools and spread the yellow paper on the table. She casually dipped it in cinnabar, and her movements were smooth and fluid. In just a moment, a talisman was drawn. The live stream audience was dumbfounded. It seems quite like that. However, there were also people who questioned, "Is it that casual? Drawing talismans is a very serious matter. One needs to bathe, change clothes, burn incense and wash the brush. Xiangyi's drawing is simply child's play. Chapter 684. There are congenital and postnatal talismans. To put it simply, congenital talismans can only be drawn by geniuses. As the saying goes, a little bit of inspiration is a talisman. The ritual rules for postnatal talismans are complicated, and ordinary people draw postnatal talismans. However, Xiangyi drew postnatal talismans. You can choose not to believe it, but you can't be disrespectful, right? However, Xiangyi didn't have that many scruples. What she drew was a heart-calming talisman that she had learned in a certain immortal cultivation world, which had the effect of calming the mind. However, she was in her own world and didn't have the so-called dermic powers. There was also no spiritual energy in this world, so she felt that this talisman wouldn't have any substantial effect. It was just to coax children. Little did she know that the video of her drawing talismans was coincidentally seen by a certain talisman enthusiast. Professor Zhu had done a lot of research on traditional Chinese culture, especially the classics of mountains and seas, myths, and other aspects. His main job was as a history professor at Nanjing University, and his daily life was very healthy. Apart from teaching classes and guiding graduate students, he would refine herbal pills, take care of the flowers on the balcony, and various vegetables in the backyard. Ever since he had an exchange with a few Taoist priests at an academic event, he had developed a strong interest in talismans. Apart from analyzing the culture, history, and origins behind them, he would occasionally draw a few talismans for fun. After some scientific research, he discovered that it was indeed difficult to draw talismans. Apart from the superstitious factors, the drawing of talismans was complicated, just like traditional Chinese characters. It was already very difficult to remember. Secondly, the talisman maker was required to draw it in one go without any interruptions. These two conditions had stumped a lot of people. Today, he came to attend a study report by a few graduate students. Before it was time, someone had already started watching the video. Professor Zhu wasn't like some old-fashioned teachers who were resistant to popular things. On the contrary, he was quite fashionable and trendy. He felt that as long as the students completed their study tasks, it was fine for them to play games and watch short videos. It was fine as long as it was moderate. Hence, not only did he not reprimand the students, he even held his thermos and watched the video with relish. The video of Xiangyi drawing talismans happened to be playing on his cell phone. At first, Professor Zhu thought that the girl was just fooling around and casually drawing a few strokes. But the moment Xiangyi really started drawing, Professor Zhu subconsciously held his breath. The girl's movements were calm and languid, as if she was drawing a freehand painting of mountains and rivers. A moment later, a talisman was formed in her hand. The student muttered, "What the hell is this? Why does it look like scribbles?" Professor Zhu suddenly slapped his thigh. "Good." The student was shocked and trembled in fear. "Teacher? I don't want to read anymore. I'll start reading now." However, he heard Professor Zhu's praises. "My brush strokes are divine, and I'm done on the first try. The painting technique is not restricted by form, so outstanding. A little spiritual light is a talisman. The people of the world have wasted ink and vermilion. This young lady is a talisman master." Student? "Where? Teacher, are you also spicy tutu? Why is it that when it comes to bootlicking, he's even better than me?" On the other side, at a Taoist temple in South City, a young Taoist also saw the video of Xiangyi drawing talismans. He rubbed his eyes and confirmed it again. Then, he ran away and shouted, "Master, master, someone drew the same talisman as martial ancestor. What nonsense are you spouting?" The immortal-like Taoist stroked his beard. When he saw the talisman in the video clearly, his pupils instantly trembled. "It's actually a heart-cleansing talisman?" Chapter 685. "What nonsense are you talking about?" The sage-like Taoist priest stroked his beard. When he saw the talisman in the video clearly, his pupils instantly trembled. It was actually a mind-cleansing talisman? The mind-cleansing talisman had long been lost, and their Taoist temple was fortunate enough to leave behind a legacy. Unfortunately, because this talisman was too difficult, It had been lost in the generation of the Grandmaster. The reason why his little disciple could recognize it was because the Grandmaster had left behind a few talismans when he was alive. Unfortunately, although he had the talisman, the drawing technique had been lost. He had painstakingly studied it for many years, but he had only scratched the surface. How could such a young girl draw such a profound and obscure talisman? Master, why can this sister draw it, but you can't? The little Taoist priest shook his head and asked. He saw that this sister's drawing wasn't that difficult. The Taoist priest was speechless. Nonsense. Of course it's because I'm a noob. However, how could he say that in front of his little disciple? He carried his long sword on his back and flicked his horsetail whisk like a master in a Shenxia novel. Disciple, stay in the temple. I'm going to go down the mountain and visit this little friend Xiangyi. The little disciple was confused. Master, you're not even familiar with her, and you're already calling her a friend. The little disciple hesitated. Well, Master. Hey, say no more. I've already made up my mind. No matter how you persuade me, I won't change my mind. You want to go with me? That won't do. I don't know when I'll be back. What if you encounter any danger and I can't protect you? The little disciple's mouth twitched. Master, what I want to say is that your sword has been sharpened. It won't pass the high-speed railway security check. In the Manor's guest room. In response to the strong requests of the live-stream viewers and Shiryu's approval, Li Jianyu brought old Zhang into the guest room to film. Shiryu was so sleepy that his head was bobbing up and down, but he was still sitting cross-legged. Shi Sui, who was sitting opposite him, was slowly pouring a cup of hot tea for Xiangyi. Seeing Xiangyi come in, Shiryu forced himself to stay awake. Because of his sleepiness, the little boy's voice became soft. Sister? Xiangyi took out the talisman from behind and said with a smile, Here, this is the lucky spell that Prince Lemon gave to Princess Durian. It has been enchanted by the witch. If you put it under your pillow to sleep, you will sleep soundly. Sure, you already had the concept of Santa Claus is fake, and fairy tales are all lies. He blinked twice. He clearly knew that Xiangyi was coaxing him, but he liked it so much. The little boy carefully placed the talisman paper under the pillow as if it was a precious treasure. Xiangyi tucked him in. Good afternoon. Shiryu stole a glance at Shi Sui and said boldly, Good afternoon, sister. Suddenly, a large number of viewers in the live stream were shouting that they wanted to steal the cute baby. Shiryu had never slept well, but for some reason, not only did he fall asleep very quickly today, he even had a particularly beautiful dream. After the little boy fell asleep, Xiangyi pulled Shi Sui away. After carefully closing the door, Xiangyi sighed. Shiryu is so obedient. He must be very easy to take care of. Shi Sui replied with an ambiguous and casually picked up a lock of Xiangyi's hair to play with. Am I not obedient? His deep voice was tinged with a hint of pity. The man's expression was as usual, but his eyes were wet. He was simply weak, helpless, and wronged. Xiangyi! Exclamation point. Other children have lucky charms. The fresh fragrance of tea filled the living room. Unlike me, I don't have anything. Chapter 686. Hearing this, Xiao Naofu. I'm about to vomit. Li Jianyu. I can't watch this. I really can't watch this. The netizens watching the live stream. Wow, I'm so impressed. Shirring, aren't you going to consider starting a tea ceremony class? I'll be the first to sign up. What Longjing before the rain, Maojian before the light, Dongting and Biluakun before the rain. Everything pales in comparison to Shirring, tasteless and dull. Xiangyi panicked and hurriedly comforted him. No, of course our Shi Sui will have it too. Shi Sui whispered in a self-deprecating tone. Sister E, you don't have to say any more. I understand. How can a person like me deserve to have a witch's magic? Who said you don't deserve it? Xiangyi grabbed his hand and said righteously, I'll draw it for you right now. Hence, under the gaze of tens of thousands of viewers, the girl drew one talisman after another. The girl didn't seem to be tired at all. She only stopped when she had drawn a thick stack of talismans and stuffed them into Shui's hands. Is this enough? If not, there's more. Shui grabbed her wrist. The girl had a small frame and slender wrist bones, so he gently squeezed her wrist twice. Are these all for me? Xiangyi nodded vigorously. If there really is a lucky spell in this world, I want to give all my luck to you. Shui's eyes darkened. How should he describe his feelings at that moment? It was like the moment a cold peach soda was unscrewed on a summer day. All the bubbles surged up in an instant. Just give me a little bit. Shui chuckled softly, the corners of his eyes forming a happy arc. Our sister E should be the lucky one forever. In the live stream, the viewers had already gotten used to the public display of affection. Ah, what kind of love is this? Every single dog is stuffed to death, but no couple is innocent. KDL. Today is another day where I'm going to knock myself out and roll around in bed. Professor Zhu invited his friend to help host the report while he himself watched the live stream of Two Under One Roof intently. The student was in a daze. Hashtag what if my teacher is more addicted to the internet than me? Hashtag when Xiangyi drew talismans for Shui, Professor Zhu was amazed. In the eyes of ordinary people, Xiangyi was just blindly drawing. But in his eyes, every stroke of Xiangyi's was exquisite beyond compare, contained ancient history, traditional culture, and the inheritance of faith. How was this drawing talismans? This was simply art. Taoist Ren was forced to change his peach wood sword and take the high-speed train to Nanjing. His eyes were fixed on the phone, and the passers-by beside him shook their heads. This was truly the era of entertainment to death. Even Taoist priests were following variety shows. Little did they know that Taoist Ren was so shocked that he was speechless. Heart-cleansing talisman, safety talisman, house-guarding talisman. Most of them were talismans that he had never seen or heard of in his life. Not only did the variety of talismans make him dumbfounded, but what was even more surprising was that Xiangyi drew one talisman after another without taking a break in between. Drawing talismans was very taxing on the mind, and he had to rest after drawing one talisman. His master could draw up to 3 talismans at most, and it would be difficult for him to continue after that. But this little friend Xiangyi, how is this a painting? It was more like a photocopier. Taoist Ren was trembling as he forwarded the video to his peer group. Fellow Taoists, if you don't watch this video, you won't be Chinese. Some people in the group saw this and sneered. What kind of ridiculous rumors did old Ren forward to the group? Chapter 687. It was nothing more than something along the lines of, how did an old woman in her 60s achieve enlightenment? Or good writing. Repost it to your friends to keep your house safe. When they clicked on the video, they saw a fair-skinned and calm girl drawing talismans with a cinnabar brush. It was nothing more than, wait a minute. It was done in one go. If that was all, it wouldn't be a big deal, but every subsequent one was the same. Moreover, the variety of talismans and their difficulty was beyond the imagination of these Taoist masters. When the last second of the video ended, the screen went black again. Several blank faces were reflected on the screen. Who exactly was this little friend? The group that had been silent for a long time suddenly became lively. Taoist Master Min from Baiyun Temple. What's this little friend's name? Where does she live? Does anyone know? Taoist Master Su from Yuchuan Temple. Taoist Master Run from Qingshui Temple. Long time no see. I miss you. Taoist Master Yu from Yongla Temple. Taoist Master Run from Qingshui Temple. You and I have known each other for many years. Even if we're not brothers, we're closer than brothers. Can you reveal some information about this little friend? For a moment, everyone rushed to tag Taoist Master Ren. Taoist Master Run, who had always been hated by everyone in the group, suddenly became the most popular person in the group. In the living room, Li Jianyu was too curious and directly entered the camera. He squatted between Xiangyi and Shui and asked, Sister E, is this talisman really useful? Is there a fortune talisman? It can make me rich in minutes. Or buy a lottery talisman for sure. Xiangyi, no. Li Jianyu didn't give up and squeezed closer to her. With a flattering smile, he said, Sister E, We're all on the same side. It's okay to be a little bit metaphysical. Sui's expression didn't change. She grabbed his collar with one hand and pulled him towards her. Even his clothes couldn't touch Xiangyi. It was full of possessiveness. Li Jianyu put his index finger and thumb together and rubbed it a few times. This action looked inexplicably wretched. In the stream, "Ah, son, you're so ugly that I'm your father." Sure enough, there's no harm without comparison. Son, your face is so much bigger than Sister Yi's Shuringdi. Sister Yi, look at me. I'm not greedy. Arrange it with the peach blossom talisman. As long as you can recruit a few guys with 8-pack abs. Xiangyi said sternly, "You shouldn't have such a mindset. Wake up. There is no such thing as metaphysics in this world. The world is unified by matter. Matter is in motion, and there is a law to its motion. Laws can be recognized and recognition can develop and change." Li Jianyu? The audience in the streaming room? The reporters, who were about to say their goodbyes, were dumbfounded when they heard Xiangyi's serious words. So Sister Yi was this materialistic? So, do you understand? Li Jianyu suddenly felt ashamed. Understand? Understand what? Xiangyi said bitterly. What should we believe? Believe in science. Li Jianyu was instantly enlightened and exclaimed, "Okay, Xiangyi, I'm enlightened." The audience was dying of laughter. What King enlightenment? What the hell are you trying to comprehend? The next second, a certain black-bellied actor calmly said, "Li Jianyu, there seems to be a dark shadow behind you." Li Jianyu, who was easily frightened, screamed crazily. Chapter 688. Xiangyi. Shui. Live stream viewers? Shuringdi is so mean, ha 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 ha. I can understand the first part, but what the hell is with Xiao Maxian's transformation? What do you guys know? Our son is giving us a vivid performance of the pragmatism of the Chinese. We'll believe in whatever spirit it is. TSK, this is the same as putting Confucius, Newton, and Einstein on the table before an exam. Li Jianyu's expression was like a frightened chicken, providing fresh material for the emoji community and the ghost section. Xiangyi held back her laughter. "No, he's lying to you. Turn around if you don't believe me." No. Li Jianyu would rather die than give in. What if I get sent away when I turn around? Just a moment ago, he had been afraid that Xiangyi would engage in futile activities. But now he was frantically begging Xiangyi, "Sister Yi, please give me a talisman." Boo-hoo. Don't TV dramas show people burn talismans and dissolve the ashes in water? Drinking it can ward off evil spirits, right? Then our live stream will really be gone. Xiangyi joked. In order to comfort him, she drew a safety talisman and folded it into a small triangle. "Here, put it in your pocket." Li Jianyu thanked her profusely and hurriedly stuffed it into his pocket. The viewers expressed that if it weren't for the live stream, they suspected that he would have stuffed it into his sock. Ahem. A refined reporter stepped forward and said goodbye to Xiangyi on behalf of the crowd. "Thank you, Sister Yi, for your hospitality. We've already tidied up the yard, so we won't disturb you any further." Wait, Xiangyi got up. "I've prepared some specialties from Little Rabbit Farm for you guys." Everyone was polite. "How can we accept this? You're even taking food and drinks. What kind of people are we?" "Yeah, Sister E. We can buy it from your online store if we want to eat it." Li Jianyu was shocked. "Can you guys get it? I've been single for many years, but I still can't get it." The reporters, they felt as if they had been stabbed in the heart. "Get it my ass." At most, he could only go to the seafood market to increase the price by a few times. A smile appeared in Xiangyi's eyes. "It just so happens that a new product has been released recently. You can take it back and try it." The little girl was meticulous and had already arranged for people to prepare the local specialties. Everyone was given a basket. Inside were Little Rabbit Farm's signature products, such as spicy rabbit head, spicy beef, milk strawberries, and so on. There were also vacuum-packed pickled radishes, pickled cabbage, and 3 packets of a new product, Instant rice noodles. The packaging was as cute as ever. A soft bunny was holding a bowl and eating rice noodles in big mouthfuls. The audience in the live stream room. Ah, another new product? Time to test your hand speed. Heh. New products are coming out pretty quickly. If you're so capable, you can buy as many as you want. I dare to buy women, but do you dare to sell them? Xiangyi is really the biggest obstacle in my pursuit of stardom. Mama doesn't even know how to spend money for you. Hurry up and accept endorsements. Hurry up and shoot the new products in the magazines. Mommy wants to spend money on you. The reporters were flattered and thanked him profusely. When they reached the door, someone exclaimed in surprise, "Wow! I have a small jar of barbecue sauce inside. Sister E, did you hear me say that the barbecue sauce is delicious?" "Wow, I have one too. I mentioned that I wanted to drink big sauce soup, and there's actually a jar of big sauce inside. Sob sob, mine is fruit. Sister E is so considerate." Everyone shared their joy. The feeling of being cared for was really wonderful. Chapter 689. Xiangyi and Shui did not have the habit of taking afternoon naps. As usual, they sat by the floor-to-ceiling windows, one reading a script while the other flipped through medical books. Occasionally, they would whisper a few words to each other. Unlike other fast-paced variety shows, Two Under One Roof was a slow and leisurely routine most of the time. However, it was very comfortable. Their lifestyle was also imitated by many people. Many people would often turn on the live stream and turn down the volume before doing their homework or reading. Not only did they calm down, but they also improved themselves. Around 2 o'clock, Shui woke up. He hadn't slept so well in a long time. He stretched his back and suddenly thought of something, after which he scurried out of the room barefooted. Shui was the only one in the living room. The little boy froze in place and hesitated for a few seconds before asking timidly, "Uncle, where's Sister Xiangyi?" Shui glanced at him and said calmly, "She went to get changed. Do you want some water?" Shui shook his head and grabbed the corner of his pajamas helplessly. Fortunately, little Shiji came over and nudged his calf. Shui's tensed body finally relaxed a little. He squatted down and looked at little Shiji for a few seconds before asking carefully, "Can I touch you?" Woof! The little boy's black eyes lit up and he wiped his little hands on his clothes before gently touching little Shiji's head. It was furry and a little warm. Xiao Naofu widened its icy blue eyes. This stupid cub actually touched that silly dog instead of me? Although I like being touched too. I'm the most popular one in this family. Hence, Xiao Naofu pushed little Shiji away and spoke to Shui in a soft and coquettish voice. "Meow meow. No human can resist a cat, not even a human cub." Shui held his breath, amazed by how adorable Xiao Naofu was. Seeing that he didn't react for a long time, Xiao Naofu tilted its head and grabbed Shui's sleeve with its little paw. "Meow. Is this hoo-hoo not charming enough? How could this detestable cub be indifferent to this hoo-hoo's body?" This scene of jealousy was a critical hit to the cute pet and treasure lovers in front of the screen. "Today, I'm going to steal little Shiji and Xiao Naofu again. Is there any weapon more lethal than the combination of cute pets and cute babies? No. There's the T-Saint before, and now there's the T-King. I wonder if the T-Saint or the T-King's acting skills are better. I recommend that both of them be admitted to the national team as an exception. If I say that Shuringdi and Xiao Naofu are tea artists, does anyone refute that?" Shui finally couldn't help but reach out his little hand and gently poked Xiao Naofu's head. Once they touched, they separated. However, that feeling seemed to be even better than touching little Shiji. Xiao Naofu. "Heh. Sure enough, there's no man this hoo-hoo can't seduce." The kitten lightly jumped into Shui's arms and took the initiative to rub against his chest as if it was acting coquettishly. Shui was speechless. "It rubbed against me. The cat rubbed against me. It smells so nice, so soft, and so cute." Shui looked around and saw that Shui was still staring at the script in his hand. The little cub's black grape-like eyes were bright and clear. He hugged Xiao Naofu with both hands and said in a mature tone, May I kiss you?" Without waiting for Xiao Naofu to answer, he smacked his lips and kissed Xiao Naofu's forehead. Shi Yu's ears immediately turned red. Xiao Naofu was dumbfounded. F***ck. You guys with the surname Shi are indeed dogs from the same lineage. Chapter 690. No, this cub was even worse than that old man. Shi Sui. He was asking for permission with his mouth, and then he kissed him directly. This was equivalent to shaking hands in a martial arts competition and then breaking the other party's hand. It was simply unethical, especially after the kiss. He was so embarrassed that he could not raise his head. Those who did not know would think that this hoo-hoo did something to him. Shi Yu was really embarrassed. He never thought that he would actually do such a thing like kissing a kitten. This went against the gentleman education he had received since he was young. Sob sob. Sob sob sob. Just as the little boy wanted to dig a hole and bury himself in it, Xiangyi came out after changing her clothes. The young girl had changed into a light blue and white sportswear. At first glance, it looked a bit like a high school sportswear, but she looked like the school bell in it. Shi Yu, why is your face so red? Do you have a fever? Xiangyi's tone was worried. She wanted to check the temperature of his forehead, but Shi Yu avoided her. I'm fine. The little boy was embarrassed. He was afraid that Xiangyi would find out that he had secretly kissed the kitten. He stuttered a little. Sister, are you going out? Xiangyi. Yes. I'm going to climb the mountain with your uncle. We'll also dig some wild vegetables and pick some wild fruits or something. Shi Yu's eyes lit up. Other than the kindergarten, his range of activities was at home. His parents were too busy and rarely took him out to play. Xiangyi suddenly realized something. Then you should call me auntie. Otherwise, wouldn't the three of us mess up the seniority? The man's deep voice came from behind. Call me auntie. Xiangyi's ears were a little hot. Don't talk nonsense. However, under his uncle's kind gaze, Shi Yu shrank his neck and called out obediently. Auntie Xiangyi. Now, there was one more person who was embarrassed. Shi Sui's thin lips curled up. This little boy was obviously more pleasing to the eye. He ruffled his hair. If you want to go and change your clothes. Shi Yu could not wait. I'll go now. Shi Yu changed his clothes as fast as he could and took the initiative to put a thermos cup, toilet paper, chocolate, and other items into his small school bag. Could be said that he saved the adults a lot of trouble. Xiangyi asked if she wanted to help him carry the backpack, but the little boy shook his head decisively. Auntie, I can do it myself. If you need it, I can carry it for you. The audience in the live stream was wailing. Sure enough, other people's children were different. Oh my God, how did you teach your child to be like this? Shi Yu's ability to take care of himself is too strong. He doesn't look like a young master from a wealthy family at all. Why is Shi Yu such a gentleman? Not only does my brother not help me carry my bag, but he always makes me carry his bag for him. If you don't take it, you're rolling on the ground and crying. Xiao Naofu also insisted on going, so Xiangyi decided to bring it along with little Shiji. Someone commented in the live stream, "Wow, this is like a family of 3 bringing a cat and a dog for an outing." Someone immediately retorted, "Bullsh*t. They're clearly 2 dogs. You there? Sure you doesn't deserve a name? Ha, what a joke. Is little Shiji our Shi Sui dog?" When the audience saw these comments, they were about to die of laughter. When they clicked on the personal homepages of the accounts that were defaming Shi Sui, the netizens made an even more shocking discovery. Many of these people were actually Shi Sui's sister. A term rose on the hot search list. #fandoms confusing behavior reward #. Chapter 691. The entry originated from a Joker blogger. She summed up the confusing behavior of fans in the entertainment circle in recent days. For example, a certain popular starlet sneaked into her fan group and was kicked out. A certain new rapper and anti-fans had hundreds of posts. The most hilarious ones were the actions of Spicy Tutu and Shi Sui sisters. Raising money for investment, illegal fundraising, reporting, receiving help. Sao Rue, you haven't announced anything yet. So what if you're anti-fans? As fans, we're even more anti-fans. Among them, Spicy Tutu reported the female Durban and won a little red flower from the internet police. She and Shui sisters claimed that Shui was a gigolo, and some even expressed that they hoped that Xiangyi would take care of them too. As soon as this Weibo post was posted, it received more than 1,000 comments. I've laughed my head off so many times. Spicy Tutu is so cute. Not only is she Buddhist, she's also so silly. Shui sisters didn't used to be like this. Why do I feel like she's been assimilated by Spicy Tutu? Of course, the Shui sisters would never admit that they were as silly as Spicy Tutu. Don't remind me, we're very aloof. Okay? As for Xiangyi, I guess I'll just make do with her. At the manor. After packing up, Xiangyi and the others were ready to set off with the production crew. As soon as they walked out of the door, they heard a loud and hurried shout. Xiangyi, hold on. Oh, is he looking for Sister E? Everyone turned to look at him and was stunned. The person was wearing an old blue Taoist robe with his long hair tied up in a crown. He carried a peach wood sword on his back and held a white horsetail whisk in his hand. He looked like an immortal. Of course, that was if one ignored the fact that he was carrying a big iron pot. The netizens watching the livestream were confused. This scene seems familiar. It reminds me of Sanmao Bro. Hades! So what if you're carrying a big bowl? Look at how big his pot is. Xiangyi was also very confused, but she still nodded politely. Hello. May I know what you're looking for me for? Taoist Ren was excited. Little friend Xiangyi, I'm here to ask for your guidance. Xiangyi. Everyone? Viewers in the livestream room? As the saying goes, fellow disciples are friends. Little friend Xiangyi, although we've only met by chance today, in my heart, I've already treated you as an old friend of mine for many years. When it came to being thick-skinned, Taoist Ren was invincible. In the livestream, this person is a scammer? Could it be an actor hired by the production team? I just like small plots without a script. If there was a script, I wouldn't want to read it. That's right, that's right. Aren't we just watching this for fun? Look at the beauty, look at the food, and look at the beautiful scenery. Li Jianyu, son, don't forget your original intention. In the next second, Taoist Ren cupped his hands towards Xiangyi. There's no precedence when it comes to learning. I'm here today for no other reason than to ask little friend Xiangyi to give me some pointers on the art of talismans. Everyone? What the hell? Talismans? Was he referring to the messy things that Xiangyi had drawn? Xiangyi, you're being too serious. How could I give you pointers? I'm just drawing casually. At this moment, a few more cars drove over in the distance. Professor Zhu got out of the car first, then helped an old man with white hair, followed by a few young people who looked like students. Miss Xiangyi, please forgive me for taking the liberty of disturbing you. Professor Zhu suppressed his surging emotions. On behalf of the Nanjing Historical and Cultural Research Institute, we'd like to ask for your guidance. Chapter 692. Professor Zhu, nice to meet you. Li Jianyu stepped forward to receive him. Didn't you say that you would be coming tomorrow? The Research Institute had indeed contacted the production team, but the appointed time was tomorrow. The production team felt that this was not only a good thing for Xiangyi, but also a good way to educate the public about history and culture. Hence, they readily agreed. Professor Zhu said in surprise, well, I'm the one who can't wait to meet Miss Xiang. The gray-haired old professor next to him spoke up. The old man was old and his back was a little hunched, but his eyes were full of wisdom. Please forgive me if I've disturbed you in any way. Teacher Ji. Although her memory was a little fuzzy, Xiangyi still recognized him. When I was in university, I had the honor of attending one of your lectures. In the live stream, if you don't understand, just ask. Are these two people very powerful? Of course. History is the ace major of Nanjing University, and Professor Zhu is the ace professor of the history department. The old man next to him is his Ph.D. advisor, Mr. Ji, who is currently a leading figure in the academic world. Everyone was even more surprised after learning the identities of the two. Such a powerful figure. actually asked for Xiangyi's advice? Oh my God! Just how impressive is Sister E? Due to the sudden visit of Taoist Ren, Mr. Ji, and Professor Zhu, the matter of going up the mountain had to be put on hold for the time being. Everyone returned to the living room where Xiangyi personally brewed some tea and sat down obediently on the sofa. Shi Sui sat next to her, and the two of them looked like super straight-A students who were waiting for the teacher to ask them questions. They were calm and composed. Mr. Ji and Professor Zhu were excellent at maintaining their composure. The two of them slowly tasted Xiangyi's tea and their eyes lit up. Good tea. Taoist Ren couldn't help but ask, Xiangyi, where did you learn talismans from? Xiangyi naturally couldn't disclose the fact that she had transmigrated, so she casually said, I don't have a master. I'm just doing my own research for fun. Taoist Ren didn't continue on this topic, thinking that Xiangyi must have had her own opportunities. He immediately praised, You're really a genius. A genius. Genius. In the cultivation plane, Xiangyi had seen too many amazing talisman crafting geniuses. She had always thought that her standard was very average. Now she was embarrassed by the compliments. You flatter me. No, no, no. These are all words from the bottom of my heart. I've studied talismans for several decades, and I've only scratched the surface. Little friend Xiangyi is so young, but she has such accomplishments. If she was in the ancient times, she would definitely be someone who would establish a sect and become an immortal. The bullet screen was filled with laughter. The Taoist priest is too good with words. It is recommended to publish the book on the spot. There were also people who retorted, Attain the Tao? Aren't you praising him too much? That's too much of an exaggeration. It's obviously self-directed. No, you can become an immortal just by scribbling a few scribbles? This person must have read too many Shenxia novels. At this moment, Professor Zhu said, Have you heard of the Wuxia civilization? Shi Sui said, Are you referring to the ancient Wuxia kingdom? I don't know much about history, and I only know some general knowledge. There are no records of the ancient Wuxia kingdom in history books. But there is currently a school of thought in the academic world that believes that the ancient Wuxia kingdom really existed. That's right. Mr. Ji's voice was loud like a bell. At the mention of academics, his entire aura seemed to have changed. There is currently a lack of evidence to prove the existence of the ancient Wuxia kingdom, but I think that Miss Xiang's talismans can give us a glimpse of the prosperous civilization of that time. Chapter 693. His words caused everyone to fall silent for a few seconds. Even the comments in the live stream began to dwindle, followed by a large row of question marks. What the F*** CK? History buffs are here. Can this really prove the existence of the Wuxia civilization? If that's the case, it'll be a great revolution for history. No, the entire humanities. In the living room, Professor Zhu added, At present, we generally believe that the most prominent characteristics of the Wuxia civilization are closely related to witchcraft, divination, and sacrifice. According to the records of various eras, talismans as a cultural symbol have also changed over time. All of this is traceable, but this clue is missing the most crucial link. Miss Xiang's talismans can help us complete this closed loop. Xiangyi was stunned. Something seemed to have flashed through her mind, but it disappeared too quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. Professor Zhu, I'm very honored to be able to contribute a little to your research. What can I do to help? Can you provide us with some talismans? As well as a video of you drawing talismans. Of course, in addition to a certificate of honor, we're willing to provide a certain amount of monetary subsidies. Xiangyi said, Forget about the subsidies. Can you give me a certificate or a little red flower? Haha. Both Professor Zhu and Mr. Ji laughed and looked at Xiangyi with more admiration in their eyes. Look, what a good child. Not only is she diligent and motivated, but she also values money. Xiangyi took out the talisman paper and cinnabar, and tried her best to draw all the types of talismans in her mind. Thus, everyone watched helplessly as the little girl continuously drew over 100 talismans with her own strength without stopping even once. The students brought by Professor Zhu were recording a video at the side. While recording, they were amazed by Xiangyi's memory. The drawing method of each talisman was very complicated, and mistakes could be made with the slightest carelessness. However, Xiangyi did it smoothly from beginning to end without making a single mistake. That was enough to show how powerful her memory was. After drawing hundreds of talismans, Xiangyi's hands were still very steady, which meant that her concentration had reached a terrifying level. If such a person were to engage in scientific research, her achievements would definitely be immeasurable. The students looked at each other in dismay. All of them had long faces. Alas, what kind of rookies are we? Time passed. Swish. After finishing the last stroke, the girl exhaled softly. She drew all the types of talismans she could think of. She should be able to help Professor Zhu and the others a little, right? I'm done. Xiangyi turned around and asked the students, "Have you recorded everything clearly? Is there anything that needs to be recorded?" The few of them were stunned at first. Then they reacted. "It's done, it's done. Very clear. We even took pictures from different angles." Before they came, they were still a little prejudiced against Xiangyi. After all, it was easy for a female celebrity to give people the impression that she relied on her looks to make a living. But Xiangyi's talent and character had conquered them. Gentleness could be seen in the details. If he was lucky enough to be friends with her, it would definitely be very comfortable getting along with her. Professor Zhu and the others thanked him profusely as if they had received a treasure. They were in a hurry to go back and do their research, so they proposed to leave first. Before leaving, Mr. Ji broke free from Professor Zhu's support, faced Xiangyi, and with much difficulty he bowed. "Miss Xiang, thank you for your selfless dedication. I'm proud of the country for having a young person like you." Chapter 694. He pulled out his peachwood sword, stuck a talisman on it, and threw the sword into the air. The live stream viewers. "Oh my God! Can he really fly on a sword?" In the next second, the peachwood sword hit Taoist Ren's head and he let out a shrill scream. "Ouch, it hurts." "Everyone," Li Jinyu said cheekily, "don't imitate that dangerous move. Thank you, Taoist Ren, for your performance. He sacrificed himself to entertain us. His spirit is so commendable." The livestream viewers. Talking nonsense with a straight face. "Ha ha ha ha. Taoist Ren is my laughing point today. Taoist Ren, this sword is immoral. It sneaked an attack on a middle-aged man like me. I advise this sword to take care of itself." Everyone laughed heartily, and the nervousness from before vanished like smoke in thin air. That's right, flying on a sword and flying on a sword are all movies. How could they exist in real life? Xiangyi tried hard to hold back her laughter. "Taoist Ren, we're preparing to go up the mountain. Would you like to rest here for a while?" Taoist Ren had yet to recover from the blow. He muttered to himself several times, "This is impossible." But when he heard Xiangyi's words, he forced himself to cheer up. His gaze swept across Xiangyi, Shui, and Shiryu. Taoist Ren frowned. "It's not safe on the mountain. You're a delicate girl with two powerless men. What if you encounter a wild beast?" "Xiangyi, I'll go with you." "Shui? Shiryu?" The expressions of the Shur uncle and niece seemed to be carved out of the same mold. There was a hint of coldness in their expressionless faces. However, the livestream viewers laughed out loud. "Taoist Ren, have you seen a delicate girl who can kill a 200-pound pig? Light up a cigarette." "Ha ha ha. Shui is being treated as a gigolo again." "Shiryu, it's fine if you say I'm powerless, but you're going overboard by saying that my uncle is." In short, Taoist Ren insisted on going together. Xiangyi and the others felt that it was fine and set off together. The audience was used to the usual live broadcast in the manner, so it was very refreshing to go out occasionally. Soon, the group arrived at the foot of the mountain. The nearby mountain was continuous, and the main peak was quite high above sea level. Today, Xiangyi and the others were going to climb a lower peak. Although the altitude was low, it hadn't been artificially developed. As far as the eye could see, it was a sea of green. The air was fresh and pleasant, and the chirping of birds and cicadas could be heard. The mountain stream was so clear that one could see the bottom. One could even see a few fish swimming in it. Xiangyi plucked a piece of green foxtail. The young girl was very skillful. She weaved a little rabbit for Shiryu to play with. Shiryu thanked him obediently and held it in his hands as if he had obtained a treasure. He even pretended as if nothing had happened and waved his hand in front of Shui. The little kid's subtle desire to show off was greatly satisfied. "Uncle, I have it but you don't." The next second Shui spoke softly, adding a touch of tea fragrance to the forest. "Sister E, can I have a little rabbit too?" Xiangyi said without hesitation. Sure, of course." She had to satisfy her boyfriend's request. The young girl quickly made 2 little rabbits for Shui. Shui took them and smiled. "Sister E is very nice. As long as you like them," Xiangyi said with a smile. She turned her head to see if there were any edible wild vegetables. While she wasn't paying attention, Shui waved the 2 straw bunnies in front of Shiryu. The cold and handsome man, whose bone structure was so good that there was nothing to nitpick about, said seriously, "See, I have 2 little rabbits." Chapter 695. He pulled out his peachwood sword, stuck a talisman on it, and threw the sword into the air. The live stream viewers, "Oh my God, can he really fly on a sword?" In the next second, the peachwood sword hit Taoist Ren's head and he let out a shrill scream. "Ouch, it hurts." "Everyone," Li Jinyu said cheekily, "don't imitate that dangerous move. Thank you, Taoist Ren, for your performance. He sacrificed himself to entertain us. His spirit is so commendable." The livestream viewers, talking nonsense with a straight face. "Ha ha ha ha. Taoist Ren is my laughing point today. Taoist Ren, this sword is immoral. It sneaked an attack on a middle-aged man like me. I advise this sword to take care of itself." Everyone laughed heartily, and that bit of nervousness from before vanished like smoke. That's right, flying on a sword and flying on a sword are all movies. How could they exist in real life? Xiangyi tried hard to hold back her laughter. "Taoist Ren, we're preparing to go up the mountain. Would you like to rest here for a while?" Taoist Ren had yet to recover from the blow. He muttered to himself several times, "This is impossible." But when he heard Xiangyi's words, he forced himself to cheer up. His gaze swept across Xiangyi, Shui, and Shiryu. Taoist Ren frowned. "It's not safe on the mountain. You're a delicate girl with 2 powerless men. What if you encounter a wild beast?" "Xiangyi, I'll go with you." "Shui? Shiryu?" The expressions of the Shur uncle and niece seemed to be carved out of the same mold. There was a hint of coldness in their expressionless faces. However, the livestream viewers laughed out loud. "Taoist Ren, have you seen a delicate girl who can kill a 200-pound pig? Light up a cigarette." "Ha ha ha. Shui is being treated as a gigolo again." "Shiryu, it's fine if you say I'm powerless, but you're going overboard by saying that my uncle is." In short, Taoist Ren insisted on going together. Xiangyi and the others felt that it was fine and set off together. The audience was used to the usual live broadcast in the manor, so it was very refreshing to go out occasionally. Soon, the group arrived at the foot of the mountain. The nearby mountain was continuous, and the main peak was quite high above sea level. Today, Xiangyi and the others were going to climb a lower peak. Although the altitude was low, it hadn't been artificially developed. As far as the eye could see, it was a sea of green. The air was fresh and pleasant, and the chirping of birds and cicadas could be heard. The mountain stream was so clear that one could see the bottom. One could even see a few fish swimming in it. Xiangyi plucked a piece of green foxtail. The young girl was very skillful. She weaved a little rabbit for Shiryu to play with. Shiryu thanked him obediently and held it in his hands as if he had obtained a treasure. He even pretended as if nothing had happened and waved his hand in front of Shui. The little kid's subtle desire to show off was greatly satisfied. "Uncle, I have it but you don't." The next second Shui spoke softly, adding a touch of tea fragrance to the forest. "Sister E, can I have a little rabbit too?" Xiangyi said without hesitation. Sure, of course." She had to satisfy her boyfriend's request. The young girl quickly made 2 little rabbits for Shui. Shui took them and smiled. Sister E is very nice. As long as you like them, Xiangyi said with a smile. She turned her head to see if there were any edible wild vegetables. While she wasn't paying attention, Shui waved the 2 straw bunnies in front of Shiryu. The cold and handsome man had an impeccable physique. He said in a serious tone, "Do you see? I have 2 little rabbits." The order of the 2 chapters had been changed. It was time to refresh. Chapter 696. Shiryu was speechless. The little Shota was speechless. He used to idolize his uncle, but who could have told him that his uncle was so childish? The livestream viewers were aghast. Shiryu, you don't do anything related to humans at all. You can't beat 2 Shui. You're even bullying children. Ha ha ha. It's clearly the Shur family showing off to each other. It's obvious that they're just a plastic family. Unwilling to be outdone, Shiryu puffed up his cheeks and said, I have one too. Shui smiled and said, I have 2. Shiryu exclaimed, Sister gave it to me first. Shui continued, I have 2. Shiryu was speechless. I'm so tired. Showing off to his little nephew was no longer enough to satisfy a certain Shiryu. Thus, he locked his gaze on the camera. The live stream viewers were speechless. They suddenly had a bad feeling. Sure enough, the man got closer to the camera, and his handsome and noble face was magnified. Without the enhancement of any beauty filter, his skin was still cold and pale. When he smiled, it was bewitching. This is a little rabbit that Sister E made for me. Shui raised his left hand and then his right. This is also a little rabbit that Sister E made for me. Isn't it cute? Everyone at the scene was speechless. The live stream viewers were speechless. There are 2 trees in front of my house. One is a jujube tree and the other is also a jujube tree. Shiryu must be a contemporary literary hero. Ha ha ha. Is this man really 27 years old? He's so childish. You guys are luring the dog in to be killed. If I'm guilty, the law will punish me, not slap me in the face with dog food. Suddenly, Xiangyi's surprised voice came from not far away. There are mushrooms. Looking in the direction of the voice, they saw the little girl standing under the shade of a tree and waving in the direction of the crowd. Shui walked closer with his long legs. Perhaps because it had just rained. There were many mushrooms growing nearby, spreading into a large area. Xiangyi quickly identified which ones were edible and which were poisonous and told everyone to pick them separately. Even Shiryu gave him a small basket so that the child could feel the joy of labor. This was a very new experience for Shiryu. The little boy huffed and puffed as he picked them very seriously. Xiangyi vividly told the audience about several common ways to make mushrooms. While she was talking, Taoist Ren's loud voice came from beside her. Gulp. Xiangyi looked over. Taoist Ren said awkwardly, Well, I was in a hurry on the way, so I ate a boxed lunch on the train. Xiangyi, when you started talking about food, I got hungry. Xiangyi didn't say anything. Her expression was solemn as she stared at Taoist Ren. Seeing that she didn't say anything, someone in the live broadcast room suddenly picked on her. Is this how you treat your guests? That's right, Rendauta came all the way here. Isn't treating him to a meal the most basic social etiquette? Taoist Ren is talking to her and she's ignoring him? Is there something wrong with her? Is she getting arrogant because she's popular? The group of people was filled with righteous indignation. In the next moment, the camera slowly switched and many people screamed in front of the screen. Ah! Through the high-definition camera, the crowd saw that on the tree behind Taoist Ren, a snake had climbed up a mountain at some point. The audience in the live broadcast room instantly went crazy. F***CK. This is a F***King venomous snake. F***CK. I was so scared that I dropped my tablet. It's over, it's over. This snake is super venomous and fast. Is the production team going to die here? Chapter 697. Guoshanfeng's real name was King Cobra. It was ferocious and had quick reflexes. Most importantly, it was highly venomous and was one of the most dangerous snakes in the world. The scene was so quiet that one could hear the wind and no one dared to make a sound. Even the experienced cameraman Lao Zhang's hands couldn't help but tremble. Who wouldn't be afraid? It was a venomous snake. They might even lose their lives here. Taoist Ren had his back to the tree, and because of his perspective, he was the only one who didn't understand what was going on. He even shamelessly discussed the topic of freeloading with Xiangyi. Xiangyi, it's getting late. I can't catch the high-speed train with my old bones. Can I stay for a simple meal? Don't worry. I won't freeload. I'm willing to teach you the unique swordsmanship of Qingshui Temple. It's the ultimate technique of my temple. If it were anyone else, Taoist Ren wouldn't teach them even if they were offered money. However, Xiangyi was different. She had selflessly taught him the talisman, so he naturally had to return the favor. The viewers in the live stream were so scared that they didn't even dare to breathe. Their typing was trembling. Taoist Ren. Shut up. I'm so scared that Guoshanfeng will bite you first. Oh my god. I'm going to cry. What should we do? It's just climbing a mountain. How could there be such an accident? I've already called the police and the fire department, Forestry Bureau, and Zoo Rescue. I hope they can make it in time. However, I think everyone is in danger. At least 1 or 2 people have to stay behind to hold Guoshanfeng back so that the others can escape unscathed. Anyone who had compassion in their hearts was secretly praying at this moment, hoping that everyone in the program team would be safe and sound. However, even at this time, there were still people who were quick-witted. Doesn't Xiangyi know how to draw talismans? Hee. She should draw a talisman to make the snake go away. She must be stupid, right? No way. Such remarks easily aroused the anger of the crowd. How could he say such things at a time like this? He was undoubtedly starting a war. The hot-tempered netizens directly spat out vulgarities. Even the most Buddhist, Spicy Tutu, was so angry that she started spitting. Taoist Ren saw that Xiangyi didn't respond for a long time. Combined with the reactions of the others, he vaguely understood something. His eyesight was very good. Through Xiangyi's bright doe eyes, he saw his own reflection and the figure that was a few meters long behind him. Shua. Taoist Ren broke out in cold sweat, and his legs couldn't help but tremble. The atmosphere at the scene turned cold for a moment. Before anyone could come up with a countermeasure, the snake slowly flicked out its tongue, as if it was preparing to hunt. This was simply one disaster after another. No one dared to act rashly. Their eyes and hearts were filled with despair. Taoist Ren gritted his teeth and hardened his heart. You guys go first. I'll hold this beast back. Qingshui Guan was on the mountain. He had dealt with snakes before, and he practiced martial arts all year round. No matter what, he was stronger than these unarmed young people. In the live stream, the Taoist priest is so nice. Woo-woo. Taoist priest, you must survive. I will definitely go to your monastery to burn incense. Being willing to stay at a time like this is enough to show Taoist Ren's benevolence. Unlike some artists who are so awesome when they're drawing talismans, they're good at pretending to be dead. At this moment, Guoshanfeng arched his body and looked like he was about to launch an attack. Xiangyi, who had been silent all this while, finally found the right opportunity. The girl's voice was as clear as the sound of nature. She said calmly, Taoist priest, lend me your sword. Taoist Ren was dumbfounded. Sword? The one I have? No, it's just a peachwood sword. Chapter 698. Be it the staff at the scene or the audience watching the live stream, they were all dumbfounded. Sister E wants to borrow my sword? Is she going to challenge Guoshanfeng one-on-one? No way, no way. Is Xiangyi trying to make me laugh to death? If it's an iron sword, there might be hope, but a peachwood sword, I'm afraid it's too late. I give up. Why is she still pretending at a time like this? Aren't everyone's lives worth more than their own lives? Xiangyi is so annoying. What can a peachwood sword do? Does she really think that Bai Xie's feudal crap is going to work? Can't she use her brain? Everyone kept criticizing, but the eyes of the Spicy Tutu fans lit up with hope. Maybe Sister E really has a way. Based on their understanding of Xiangyi, She wouldn't have made such a request if she wasn't completely confident. Amidst the doubts of the crowd, Xiangyi simply repeated, Taoist priest, sword. Taoist Ren hesitated for a moment, but in the end, he gritted his teeth and pulled out the peachwood sword before tossing it to Xiangyi. Forget it, I'm going to die anyway. Giving the sword to Xiangyi might give me a chance to turn the tables. The moment he pulled out the sword, Guoshanfeng moved as well. His several-meter-long body moved at an incredible speed. Countless people in front of the screen closed their eyes. It's over. The first one to be bitten will definitely be Taoist Ren. Who's the closest? The scene was so thrilling that some people at the scene couldn't help but scream. Immediately, it caused a chain reaction as panic screams sounded one after another. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. Help. Woo-woo. The audience, who could barely muster up the courage to continue watching the live stream, turned pale and broke out in cold sweat. This is scarier than a horror movie. This is a live stream of death. In the blink of an eye, a few seconds passed. To everyone's surprise, not only did Guoshanfeng not bite Taoist Ren, on the contrary, screech, hiss. Two fearful voices sounded one after another. The audience, who had closed their eyes, secretly opened their eyes, only to be instantly dumbfounded. The 7th inch of the mountain was actually nailed to the tree by Xiangyi's sword. To a snake, the 7th inch was the most fatal spot. Could be said that this sword strike had caused Guoshanfeng to lose most of his combat power. The live stream was silent for a few seconds before the comments exploded at a terrifying speed. WTF? What the F***CK did I see? Am I hallucinating, or are there special effects in the livestream room? I'm going to split it open. Wasn't that a peachwood sword? The peachwood sword pierced through the snake's body and stabbed into the tree? What is this operation? But more than that, there was a sentence that came from the bottom of everyone's heart. Sister E is awesome. Everyone at the scene was also stunned. Was the scene in front of him real? How strong was Sister Yi's arm strength when she stabbed the peachwood sword into the tree? Everyone thought that they were saved, but a sudden change occurred. Sister, be careful. Sure, you shouted. Guoshanfeng's 7th inch was nailed, but he did not lose all ability to move. His upper body straightened, and he opened his fangs to bite Xiangyi. No one expected such a turn of events. Sister E, it's over. It's really over. That was the unanimous thought in the minds of countless people. Unexpectedly, Xiangyi's body was as agile as a dragon. With a run-up, she leaped directly onto another tree. The girl's climbing speed was simply breathtaking. In an instant, she seemed to have activated the flash function in the game and easily avoided Guoshanfeng's attack. Chapter 699. Xiangyi's godly maneuver could be described as heavenly, and it was so beautiful that it made one's scalp tingle. Hiss! Hiss! Guoshanfeng spat out his tongue, but it was all in vain, as he couldn't reach Xiangyi at all. The others had long distanced themselves from her. The excruciating pain coming from his weak spot gradually made Guoshanfeng lose his strength. Soon, Guoshanfeng curled up into a ball in exhaustion. Everyone at the scene was relieved. In the live stream, the viewers were all dumbfounded. Is she climbing a tree or using Qinggong? Oh my god! Sister E is faster than a monkey when it comes to climbing trees. I got it! I got it! She nailed a snake with her sword and climbed a tree in a second. She learned some useless survival skills again. Sister E is God. Xiangyi is a fake. I won't accept any rebuttals. Everyone at the scene looked at each other in disbelief. Such a thrilling and exciting crisis was actually resolved just like that. Recalling the scene that just happened, everyone was in disbelief. Is this a live stream of a variety show? Or is this a movie? Every scene was full of dramatic effects. Before anyone could react, they hurriedly replayed the scene. The girl's black hair was soft and she looked very obedient when she was still. But when she was really frozen, her posture was full of vigor, beautiful and valiant. Be it the strength of the sword, the angle, or the decisiveness and suaveness when she ran up the tree, they were all emotional and couldn't help but watch again and again. Not long after, professionals from the fire department and the forestry bureau arrived to deal with the aftermath. Xiangyi jumped down from the tree with steady footsteps and a calm expression. She handed the peach-wood sword back to Rendaoren. "Thank you, Taoist priest." Taoist priest Ren was in a daze. "You're welcome." When he came back to his senses, he hurriedly said, "Xiangyi, I should be the one thanking you. Without you, Guoshanfeng would have bitten me and I would be dead." The tense atmosphere in the live stream dissipated, and everyone was even in the mood to joke around. "Sister E, come on. Xiao Ren, I'll teach you what it means to fly with a sword." Sister E says she believes in science while showing us what metaphysics is. She's watching the live stream with a foreign friend. She now thinks that everyone in China knows martial arts. Rai smile. On the internet, someone edited the video of the confrontation between Xiangyi and Guoshanfeng. As soon as it was uploaded, it received hundreds of thousands of likes. Related trending searches rose steadily, dominating the charts in minutes. Hashtag Sister E Riseby, hashtag Xiangyi Flying Immortal with one sword, hashtag Chinese Kung Fu, hashtag Xiang Families, Ancestral Tree Climbing Skill, hashtag Contemporary Swordsman Duel Video, hashtag Sister. Sure Yu immediately threw himself into Xiangyi's arms. No matter how smart he was still a child physically and mentally. His eyes were completely red. Xiangyi patted his back and comforted him softly. "I'm fine. How are you? Are you scared?" Sure Yu shook his head. After thinking for a while, he pursed his lips and nodded. He didn't want to lie in front of Xiangyi. "I'm sorry. If I had known that it would be so dangerous in the mountains, I wouldn't have brought you out," Xiangyi said as she rubbed Sure Yu's hair. As soon as she looked up, she met Sure Sui's abyss-like gaze. In the next second, she was pulled into Sure Sui's arms. He was so forceful that she felt as if he was going to melt her into his bones. At this moment, the number of online viewers of the Two Under One Roof live stream exceeded the 20 million mark in just a few minutes, breaking a small rule and setting another record. The Nanjing Historical and Cultural Research Institute also updated their status. "Ms. Xiangyi is invited to be a guest professor of our institute." Chapter 700. In an instant, the academic community was shocked. Generally, teachers would have to be in their 30s or 40s to be appointed as professors. Being a guest professor was an honorary title that didn't have as high requirements as being appointed as a professor. However, it was basically given to well-known scholars, entrepreneurs, inventors, and so on. They were often older too. But how old was Xiangyi? 20 years old. A 20-year-old guest professor. There weren't many in the entire country. Netizens arrived at the scene one after another, and the comments section of this Weibo post became lively. "Sister E is probably the youngest professor in history, right? No, her second brother, Xiangli, was appointed as a professor at the age of 17 or 18. I'm kneeling down to him. Sister E isn't that good, but she's still very impressive. Our kid is so hardworking." Her old mother shed tears of relief and kicked OD, who can't even solve a second-grade math problem. "I'm dying of laughter. She can be appointed as a professor just because she drew a few scribbles? Are the guest professors in the academic community so lousy?" "What do you mean by scribbles? If you're so good, go ahead." First, they were in danger, and then they were lucky enough to be rescued. The production crew's limbs were all weak. Just now, they couldn't react at all and forced themselves to continue with the live stream. After being rescued, everyone didn't even have the strength to hold the equipment. The live stream ended at the scene where Shui hugged Xiangyi tightly. At the scene, Xiangyi said softly, "Shui, don't be afraid, we're safe now." As a result, the young girl felt the hands on her waist tighten even more. The man lowered his eyes, his emotions difficult to discern. Xiangyi thought that he was angry and patted the man on the back. "I wasn't impulsive. I weighed the pros and cons before making up my mind. I'm almost 90% sure that I can get rid of that snake." She had been in danger too many times in the past, and even after returning to this world for so long, her physical and mental instincts were still there. Xiangyi didn't think that today's danger was anything special. The man's hoarse voice sounded beside her ear. I'm not angry. After a pause, he said, Our sister Yi did very well. Xiangyi was a little happy to be praised by the person she loved. She rubbed herself against his chest. She seemed to be acting spoiled. Shui gently rubbed the back of the girl's neck. His long and narrow eyes were filled with ruthlessness and malice. He was thinking about what Xiangyi had gone through in the past year. Did he suffer a lot? Suffered a lot of grievances? A lot of tears? Such a nice little rabbit. He didn't dare to think too deeply about it. Li Jinyu rested for a while, rubbed his face with his hands, and shouted, Everyone, cheer up. It's getting late, and it gets dark quickly in the mountains. Let's hurry down the mountain and go back to eat something warm. It's my treat tonight. Everyone was still in a state of shock. The word treat didn't cause any waves, and they numbly packed up their things. Until the girl's sweet voice entered everyone's ears. The weather is so hot. The ducks at home must have gotten heatstroke. Let's go back and cook a duck. If they get heatstroke, won't we get heatstroke after eating it? Hey, what's there to be afraid of? Just eat it with Isatis indigotica. I'm calling you an expert. Even Master Fong and the others will praise this dish. The eyes of the people who were like walking corpses suddenly lit up. Even the pace of their journey had become much lighter. The professional rescue workers in charge of the aftermath swallowed their saliva. The ducks were so greedy. Cough. So miserable. Chapter 701. Although the staff members were carrying equipment, they walked at the front. On the other hand, Shui carried Shiryu with one hand and held Xiangyi with the other. The three of them walked at the back. Shiryu's little face was pale. He was a child after all. At first, he did not want Shui to carry him. But not long after, he was so tired that he fell asleep with his arms around his uncle's neck. His thick and long eyelashes cast a shadow, soft and obedient. The little boy was so cute that Xiangyi could not help but take a few more glances at him. Shui's expression did not change. She turned Yu's little head to her other shoulder. Xiangyi, watch the road. The man reminded her in a low voice. Xiangyi muttered softly, Stingy. Oh, ahem, little uncle said that he will come over tonight. He will be so happy to see Yu. Little Uncle Xiangfeng was famous for liking children. Unfortunately, he had been single since birth and could only take care of other people's cute children. Even after such a thrilling experience, Shui's shirt was still neat and tidy. However, she took off her gold-rimmed glasses. Without the glasses blocking her peach blossom eyes, the visual impact was too strong. He said in a muffled voice, Do you like Yu very much? The sun was setting in the west, and the evening wind was gentle. Xiangyi's eyes curved into crescents. Boyfriend, are you jealous? Or are you jealous of a child? Shui lowered his long eyelashes and was silent for a few seconds. Then he said, Yes. Pfft. Xiangyi could not help but laugh. She explained helplessly and amusedly, Liking Yu is different from liking you. Also, I think Yu is very much like you. When I see him, I always think about what you were like when you were young. After all, the two of them were 7 years apart. Xiangyi had missed his childhood. In her impression, Shui was already a calm and gentle big brother next door when she first met him. Therefore, it was difficult for her to imagine Shui when he was young. Yu's appearance made up for this regret. Are you curious? Shui's voice was clear and pleasant. When I was young, I didn't seem to be cute or likable at all. Xiangyi retorted, Of course not. You must be the cutest kid in the world. Shui chuckled and changed the topic. What's Yaya going to do? Roast duck? Braised duck? Those unbearable and dark years were not worth mentioning. There was no need for her to know. When it came to food, Xiangyi became spirited and started counting the menu with her small hands. Roast duck is definitely a must. The duck rack can be fried, and then we can make braised duck neck, braised duck wings, and duck blood and vermicelli soup. The thin rays of sunlight fell on his back, elongating his shadow. She was going home. 2 hours later. The live stream of Two Under One Roof was opened, and the number of viewers who flooded in almost caused the server to explode. Other than the loyal fans, there were also many newcomers. I'm here because of your reputation. Sister E, teach me. I want to learn swordsmanship. Can anyone answer me? How good is Xiangyi's combat skills? If you don't know, just ask. Isn't this a martial arts show? Why are you cooking now? In the kitchen, Xiangyi had her hair tied up in a bun, and her skin was as fair as snow. She was leisurely scooping out a large spoonful of braised duck meat from the pot. The camera zoomed in and gave her a close-up. The duck neck, duck wings, and duck collarbone had all been braised to a crisp, fragrant, and spicy state. It was as if the meat would be separated from the bones with just a little bit of force. Gulp. The new fans were in a daze. This. Why is my mouth not listening to me? Chapter 702. The impact of the braised food was strong enough. However, this was just the beginning. The new fans watched helplessly as Xiangyi turned on the oven again. The roast duck was roasted to a caramel color, and the fat sizzled under the high temperature as it dripped onto the roasting pan. The new fans were going crazy. Immediately after, Xiangyi fried the duck rack and cooked duck blood and vermicelli soup. It was a complete duck feast. The girl's movements were clean and neat, and her coordination skills were amazing. Multitasking was a basic skill, and she didn't seem flustered while cooking several dishes at the same time. In the live stream, I'm so hungry, so hungry. Ah, but I just ate. Isn't Xiangyi a sword immortal? Aren't sword immortals supposed to be otherworldly? Why is she so proficient in cooking? Forget about being a sword immortal. What the hell is a sword immortal? Our sister E is just an ordinary super straight A student, god of cookery, folk music big shot, traditional Chinese medicine expert, talisman genius, tree climbing genius, magical girl. You have already mastered the essence of the common language. The countless new fans in front of their screens were dumbfounded. However, there were also countless new fans who couldn't help but click on the yellow and blue apps. All of a sudden, orders for braised duck neck, roast duck, and duck blood and vermicelli soup skyrocketed across the country. Not long after, the live stream was full of complaints. F***CK. A certain black duck store is sold out. I've already paid for my order, but the boss called me and told me to cancel it. He said that there's no duck supply today. Oh my god, why is it so difficult to eat duck? It's so hard to get a duck. Li Jianyu reluctantly spent a huge sum of money and ordered takeout for the staff so that everyone could take turns eating. However, everyone was eating absent-mindedly. They were all obviously waiting for Xiangyi's duck. When the girl called out, it was no exaggeration to say that everyone was so excited that it was as if they were celebrating the new year. The duck is here. The duck is here. Ah, it's the duck. It smells so good. I can smell it. In the living room, Taoist Ren had gotten himself a cattail hassock from somewhere and was sitting cross-legged on the floor, meditating. He had the posture of a peerless expert. Taoist Ren's lips curled into a contemptuous smile when he heard the commotion. Had nothing more than that. Even if it was a delicacy, it could only satisfy one's appetite. Someone passed by him and urged, "Master, please stop meditating. Otherwise, the ducks will be gone soon." Taoist Ren opened his eyes. His gaze was like a torch. He flicked his horsetail whisk and said, "You young people are as kind as water. Water benefits all living things but does not compete. It deals with the evils of the masses and is close to the Tao." The man was dumbfounded. Huh? What are you trying to say? Taoist Ren. Let nature take its course, follow your heart's desires, and do nothing. Do you understand? As expected of the Taoist priest, I'm ashamed of my inferiority to your spiritual realm. The viewers in the live stream were stunned. Is the Taoist priest some kind of Taoist master? These words, if you think about it carefully, they're extremely thoughtful. Kindness like water. Follow your heart's desires. Thank you, Taoist priest. I feel like I've comprehended something. In the next second, Xiangyi poked her head out of the kitchen. Taoist priest, your pot is ready. Taoist Ren, okay. The large pot on Taoist Ren's back was now filled to the brim. At the bottom was the braised food. In the middle were several large pieces of duck rack and fried mushrooms, and at the top was a roast duck roll with shredded cucumber, shredded onion, and sweet sauce. Everyone? F***CK. Chapter 703. So it's not that you don't want to fight for it, but you've already taken it all. What a ruthless person. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the crowd, Taoist Ren didn't seem to feel guilty at all. He calmly and leisurely stepped forward and steadily picked up the big pot. He said politely, Xiangyi, you're too polite. You've put in too much. It's too heavy. I can't hold it anymore. Everyone was speechless. Look at how skillful you are. You can probably handle another pot. Xiangyi was still smiling. She brought out a large bowl of duck blood and vermicelli soup and suggested to Taoist Ren, I think it would be good to change it to a double-flavored pot. It can also be filled with soup and porridge, so there's no need to worry about the flavors between the dishes. Taoist Ren's body trembled as if he had been enlightened. He stood on the spot and said, It can actually be done like that. Everyone was speechless. Taoist Ren, those who don't know better would think that you guys are discussing cultivation. Who would have thought that you guys are talking about carrying a pot? And Sister E, you're too indulgent. What double-flavored pot? If you want to carry a pot, you should at least carry 4 or 9 palaces. The dining table was filled with a sumptuous dinner. Yu's back was straight and his sitting posture was upright, like a gentleman's etiquette textbook. However, the little boy's eyes were already glued to the duck. It smells so good. I'm so hungry. I really want to eat. Xiangyi placed a bowl of soup in front of him and pinched his little face. Yu, is there anything else you want to eat? Yu shook his head. Then try it first to see if it's to your liking. If you want to eat something else, let me know. Okay? Yu nodded. Xiangfeng had just returned not long ago. He leaned back in his chair in enjoyment and shook his legs as he smelled the aroma. Little Yu, eat more. Boys can only grow taller if they eat more. Only by climbing trees can they climb faster. The bullet screen of the live stream was filled with joy. Mr. Xiang, don't lead the children astray. No, you've misunderstood, Mr. Xiang. Climbing trees is an escape skill. Mr. Xiang is doing this for the children's future. Climbing trees is not just an escape skill. Didn't you see that Sister E used it as a combat skill? I strongly suggest that our country should include tree climbing into the compulsory education system. Sui glanced at him from the corner of her eyes. She saw through the child's thoughts and said lightly, You can eat now. The food under Yu's table shook excitedly because of her words. He picked up his chopsticks, picked up a small piece of meat from the braised duck neck, and put it into his mouth. Boom! In an instant, the rich taste of sweet, spicy, fresh, fragrant, and numbing attacked the little Shota's tender taste buds. His black and white eyes were wide open, and he seemed to have forgotten to chew, not knowing what to do with it in his mouth. In this world, there was actually such delicious food. Yu's parents had a light palate and mainly ate vegetarian food. Yu rarely ate meat, let alone spicy food. Today's bite had opened the door to a whole new world for him. Xiangyi and Xiangfeng, one on the left and one on the right, served the little boy food and soup. Taking care of others was probably an instinct of the Xiang family. Spoiling their young was even more of an instinct. Thus, in a trance, Yu experienced the feeling of happiness that was described in the cartoon. The uncle and nephew of the Xiang family even had a friendly discussion. Children are actually quite easy to take care of. Yeah, who said it's hard to take care of children? I've never met a child that's hard to take care of. The livestream audience. Please use this method on me. Chapter 704. The pop-up comments immediately turned into a large-scale family reunion. Daddy, sister, I'm the long-lost baby of your Xiang family. I'm the most difficult kid to take care of in the entire universe. Give me an address. I'll send myself to you right away. Don't you guys feel embarrassed calling me daddy all the time? Don't you know that people need face and tree bark? Grandpa, Grandpa, take care of me. Under the meticulous care of the Xiang uncle and nephew, for the first time in his life, Yu ate to his heart's content. In the end, the little boy ate until his belly was round and round. While burping, he couldn't help but drink a few mouthfuls of duck blood and vermicelli soup. Xiang Feng led him to take a shower, then turned around and asked Shui, I'm going to take this little brat for a swim after the shower. Taoist priest, Shui, are you guys coming? Taoist priest Ren was extremely thick-skinned. Exercising after meals is really good for health. Before Shui could respond, the pop-up comments in the livestream room had already gone crazy. The manor was big enough to have both an outdoor and an indoor swimming pool. Shui glanced at Xiangyi. The little girl was lowering her head and drinking the soup, spoonful by spoonful, obediently and softly. Hearing their conversation, Xiangyi raised her head and met Shui's eyes. She blinked her doe eyes and asked, Uncle, Taoist priest, do you want anything to drink? I'll bring you some water later. Whatever. Xiang Feng dragged Yu out. Although Taoist priest Ren was thick-skinned, his EQ was high, so he followed with a smile. Only Shui and Xiangyi were left in the living room. The cameraman was not there, but the fixed camera in the living room was running, and subtle sounds could be heard. Thump, thump. An ambiguous atmosphere was brewing uncontrollably, and the surrounding temperature seemed to have risen by several degrees. Xiangyi thought that the duck blood and vermicelli soup must be too salty. Otherwise, why would her throat be so dry? She unconsciously licked the corner of her lips. Aren't you going? Shui squinted at her with a faint smile. Sister E, do you want me to go? The man's voice was low and magnetic. After deliberately lowering it, there was a hint of hoarseness in it, which sounded very seductive. In the live stream, I screamed until the voice-activated lights on all 30 floors lit up for me. Sister E quickly agreed. Don't you want to unlock the swimsuit version of Shuringdi? OMG. Shuringdi is so good. Whoa. Asking like this really makes me feel like I'm in love. I'm getting a concussion from being teased in front of the screen. Under the light, the aroma of the rice wafted in the air. It was a warm and beautiful scene. Xiangyi's face was calm. Up to you. However, she quickly added, I'll get you a bath towel? It seemed like he was given a choice. In fact, he had already conveyed his intentions. Shui chuckles and receives the little girl's signal calmly. Okay, I'll go change first. After he left, Xiangyi quietly pinched her burning ears. That scene happened to be captured by the camera. In front of the screen, the audience all smiled like an ant. Li Jianyu deliberately played a naughty trick and suddenly changed the screen. Hey! It's not good to do a live stream of swimming or something. The pop-up comments were all urging him to start a live stream. Swimming is a healthy sport. It should be popularized to more people. I have a friend who is terminally ill. Her last wish is to see Shuringdi's abs. Are we the ones who want to see it? Sister E wants to see it. Sister Yi's request must be fulfilled. Doghead. Live stream. If you dare to live stream, I'll call you Daddy from now on. Chapter 705. The group of people who usually arrogantly called Director Li to smash the food were now crying and calling him Daddy. This was probably... Life was full of ups and downs. Don't bully the young for being poor, right? Xiangyi prepared a few drinks and distributed them to the crew. The camera panned over, and the audience in front of the screen almost burst out laughing. In the courtyard, the crew took turns to eat the duck banquet just like a large zombie feeding scene. Everyone was desperately stuffing food into their mouths. The lighting engineer and the sound collector were fighting online for a mouthful of the duck rack. The makeup artist and her assistant were tearing each other's hair out over the last bowl of duck blood vermicelli soup, and the cameraman who was eating and laughing maniacally in the live stream. Duck duck, have a safe trip? Ha ha ha, another one has gone crazy. Sister E, you must have drugged the duck. With Xiangyi's sour plum soup, strawberry orange juice, peach-flavored water, and soy milk, a new round of fighting broke out. Xiangyi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. She wanted to go to the kitchen to make more supper. Li Jianyu said, "You can film the food too. I'll get old Zhang to switch to the camera for the live stream." In the next second, Ruan Qing pushed Xiangyi towards the swimming pool. "Sister Yi, go give Shui and the others some water first." Many female audience members in front of the screen chuckled. Indeed, women knew women better. Director Li was just a younger brother. Smiley face. It was a hot summer day, and the outdoor swimming pool was a good place to cool off. Xiangyi arrived at the pool, put down the drink and towel, and turned her small face. The cameraman was filming from her perspective, so the camera naturally turned to her. The first person that caught everyone's attention was Rendaoist. He was in his 30s and had bronze-colored muscles. He had a wild and unrestrained beauty. He was holding a gourd in his hand and drinking wine casually. From time to time, he would recite a few lines of poetry to the moon, giving off an otherworldly aura. "Everyone, I'm crying. My figure isn't as good as Taoists." Then it was Xiang Feng and Shi Yu. Although Xiang Feng usually looked like a simple-minded person, he was actually very sporty. Moreover, with the good genes of the Xiang family, he still had a few abdominal muscles. He carried the soft and obedient Shi Yu as if he was carrying a little chick. He put the little yellow duck swimming hoop on Shi Yu and said, "Come. Grandpa will teach you how to splash water." Shi Yu tilted his head and imitated him for a while. Then, he boldly scooped up a handful of water and splashed it at Xiang Feng. Xiang Feng chuckled. "Not bad, not bad. You're a fast learner. But little Yu, Grandpa will now teach you what it means to be beaten up by society." Shi Yu was speechless. The audience in the live stream room. "CEO Xiang is such a good man. Why can't he be mute? The biggest weakness of the Xiang family's Feng. Too bad he can talk. Help, I'm dying of laughter. Shi Yu is still a baby. Why did he have to bully him like this? The child is dumbfounded." In the end, the camera lived up to everyone's expectations and fell on Shui. The man was only wearing a pair of tight black swimming trunks. His hair was all combed back, and his eyes were clean and clear. His abdominal muscles were well-defined, and his Apollo's belt reached his waistline. He had broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and long legs. He had a standard inverted triangle figure, just like a walking hormone. Sensing the sound of Xiangyi's footsteps, he turned his face to the side and smiled in Xiangyi's direction. Chapter 706. In Shui's movies and TV series, Xiangyi had seen him smile in many different ways. Innocent, ruthless, desperate, and ruthless. But none of them had made her feel as moved as she did now. The girl nodded at him calmly, but her heart was beating wildly. The live stream had gone crazy. "Those abs. My nose is bleeding. Good guy. Shui doesn't treat us as outsiders, does he? Sisters. I believe I'm not the only one who is Doraemon. Hey, if you want to talk about this, I'm not sleepy anymore." The comments section flew by quickly, dazzling everyone. After bullying Shi Yu for a while, Xiang Feng finally found his conscience and brought the little brat to Xiangyi's side. Shi Yu's face was sullen, as if he was sulking. Xiangyi carefully dried his hair with a towel and asked, "Do you want something to drink?" Shi Yu shook his head and sat down obediently without saying a word. Xiangyi poked the little boy's cheek. "Are you angry? Do you want me to help you take revenge?" Shi Yu's eyelashes were wet, and he looked a little like a newborn puppy. He sounded a little depressed. "I'm not angry, I just feel that I'll be leaving in a few days." Sister Xiangyi's family was so blissful, but he would have to leave sooner or later. He told himself that he couldn't be a greedy child, but he was still greedy. He wanted to stay here forever, eat Sister Xiangyi's delicious food, and listen to her warm fairy tales. Xiangyi was stunned. She didn't expect Shi Yu's answer to be like this. Yu, if you want to come and play, you can come anytime," Xiangyi said with a smile. "I read in a book that people who meet will meet again, so we'll definitely have many opportunities to meet again in the future." Shi Yu's eyelashes fluttered, and he obediently wrapped the towel around himself. "Really? Can I?" Before he finished speaking, Xiang Feng's shout came from not far away. "Little Xiangyi, help us be the referee. We're going to compete." Xiang Yi made a hand gesture to indicate okay. Xiang Feng, I'll count to 321. Get ready, then we'll start. 3, 2. Before he could finish counting, Xiang Feng had already jumped into the water and seized the initiative. Taoist Ren was confused. I can't believe that there is someone more shameless than me in this world. He jumped into the water and chased after Xiang Feng with all his might. On the other hand, Shi Sui was still on the shore. She stretched her wrists and ankles lazily, as if she did not care about the competition at all. Xiang Yi was anxious. She clenched her small fist and said, "Boyfriend, you can do it." Hearing the girl's voice, Shi Sui glanced at her, raised her eyebrows, and then jumped into the water. Her posture was standard like that of a professional athlete. Although Xiang Feng was the first to dive into the water, he ran out of strength halfway through. On the other hand, Ren Daozhang had better stamina and swam to the front. However, Shi Sui was like a fish in water. In the blink of an eye, she had closed the distance between them. The man's figure was tall and slender, and he was nimble and agile in the water. His strength and beauty were undoubtedly revealed at this moment. 5 meters, 3 meters, 1 meter whoosh. Taking advantage of Ren Daozhang's respiration, Shi Sui directly overtook him, and then firmly held the first place. The audience watched with surging emotions. Shi Yingdi's stamina is not bad. Sister Yi's small body, can she handle it in the future? Wake up! Sister Yi is the girl who nailed a several-meter-long mountain peak into a tree with a sword. Everyone should be worried about Shi Yingdi, right? The live stream instantly fell into a mysterious silence. Chapter 707. That's true. Xiang Yi was someone who could lift pots that weighed more than 10 kilograms, slaughter little black pigs that weighed more than 100 kilograms, and beat up vicious fugitives when it came to beating people up. In comparison, Shi Yingdi seemed a little delicate? Someone asked, Shi Yingdi, can he do it? Instantly, everyone rushed to answer, I know this question. Shi Yingdi can't. Don't ask. If you ask, our Shi Sui can't do it. Does it matter if he can or not? Can't Sister Yi do it? The new fans were at a loss. Did Shi Yingdi have so many haters? However, when they clicked on the most vicious accounts, they realized that most of them were Shi Sui sisters. The new fans were speechless. What kind of operation was this? Had all the Shi Sui sisters' accounts been hacked? After a few rounds of back and forth, Shi Sui took first place without any suspense. Ren Daoist came in second, with a gap of more than 10 meters between them. Xiang Feng was in an even worse state as he choked on water and panted like a dying dog. Shi Yu walked to the side of the pool. Xiang Feng was touched. Yu, are you here to comfort Grandpa? It's okay. Grandpa has a strong mentality. In the next second, Shi Yu pulled out an oversized water gun. Xiang Feng was confused. Shi Yu glanced at Xiang Yi guiltily. Sister Xiang Yi gave this to me. Xiang Feng was speechless. Yu, listen to me. The only response he got was a merciless water gun attack. Shi Yu's soft and tender voice rang out. Sister Xiang Yi said that those who mess around have to pay for what they've done. Xiang Feng was speechless. He was a domineering CEO, yet he was killed by a little brat. This was intolerable. He was going to order a super large water gun when he got back. Shi Sui came out of the pool with her hands against the wall, her forearms showing smooth and distinct lines. Xiang Yi immediately handed her a towel, but there were still some viewers who were watching the live stream who quickly took screenshots. Damn, these lines, these silhouettes. Sisters, there's a surprise after the zoom. Should I say, he's indeed Shi Yingdi. I covered my best friend's mouth tightly to stop her from squawking by the pool. Shi Sui was casually drying her hair when Xiang Yi asked, What do you want to drink? Any recommendations? Xiang Yi immediately got into character. Sir, this is the peach sparkling water I recommend for you. It has ice cubes and peppermint grass. Not only does it have the sweetness of the peach, but it also has the sourness of the bubbles. It also has a refreshing feeling. Shi Sui's eyes were gentle. Okay, that's it. Xiang Yi continued to act. Sir, Can you give me your contact information? Was Little Rabbit trying to put on a show? Sorry, I already have a girlfriend. She's prettier than you, so please don't disturb me. Pfft. Xiangyi couldn't help but laugh. What else do you want to act? It's free of charge, and I'm looking forward to it. Sure Sui's answer attracted a lot of praise from the audience. All straight men should learn. This is the standard answer. Copying homework. I'm going to trick my boyfriend later. Haha. Untimely 99. Please continue to show off your affection day after day. Have you guys seen Weibo? Master Yen has issued a challenge to Sister E. Master Yen? Let's go watch the show now. Everyone searched for Master Yen, and the relevant Weibo immediately popped up. Master Yen, successor of the Yen school. Young man, you're plagiarizing my school swordsmanship, Tai Chi, and other techniques. This is intolerable. Let's have a showdown tomorrow. Do you dare? Xiangyi v. Chapter 708. The netizens were confused. Who is this person? Immediately, a class representative came out to speak. Master Yen is a famous martial arts master and a contracted streamer of fan yu streaming. He's good at Yan's swordsmanship, Yan's Tai Chi, and other martial arts, self-proclaimed. He has opened several martial arts schools in China, all closed down. He has challenged and defeated more than a dozen domestic and foreign masters, all unknown. In conclusion, I suggest you don't treat him as a martial arts master. You'll be surprised if you treat him as a comedic streamer. Everyone was speechless. So he's just a clown? But soon, everyone realized that the internet was vast and full of strange things. Master Yen really had a lot of loyal fans, and they were especially aggressive. Master Yan's swordsmanship and swordsmanship are all passed down from the Yen family. Xiangyi is a thief. Stealing without asking is called stealing. Stealing without returning is called shameless. She's a beauty, but why is she so cheap? If she's not guilty, why doesn't she dare to accept Master Yan's tactics? Of course she's afraid of him. The netizens' reactions were, well, as long as you guys are happy. Although they couldn't bear to watch it, they really couldn't. Everyone thought it was just a farce, but they didn't expect Ren Daozhong to be a surfer too. After going ashore and scrolling through Weibo, he was filled with righteous indignation. Nonsense! What nonsense! Release his mother's dog. Cough, cough, cough. Li Jianyu, who had a strong desire to survive, coughed violently to remind him. Ren Daozhong changed his words. Release his mother's dog. I'll help him. After all, I think he has nothing better to do. Could be said to be very civilized. Xiangyi took a look at Weibo and responded calmly. I'm not interested in fighting and killing. Is it because my cooking isn't good enough? Or is sure you're not cute enough? Good time should be spent playing the piano, reading books, learning medicine, and gardening, not wasting it on such boring people. Xiang Feng said, Tisk, such people are just clowns. Don't bother. Ren Daozhong's phone vibrated. He refreshed it and found that Master Yen had updated his status. This time, it was even more hostile and seemed to be a personal attack. Yen Men's descendant Master Yen V. Since you're a girl, I won't argue with you. But if you have a man in your family, I'll fight with you. Or let your boyfriend do it. But your son and your boyfriend don't have any balls, right? He looked like a pretty boy in the photo. Forgive me for being blunt, but I can take on 10 of you at once. After reading this, Taoist Ren felt that the atmosphere around him had changed. The source of the change was the uncle and nephew of the Xiang clan. Xiang Feng was the first to jump up. Where's my knife? Where's my saber? Ah, how dare you scold my family? I'm the only one who can scold my family. Understand? Xiangyi's delicate little face was calm. She looked very calm and steady, but when she spoke, she was extremely valiant. The girl looked up at the camera with her clear doe eyes, her gaze firm and sharp. Just because I don't like fighting and killing doesn't mean that I'm afraid of fighting and killing. Reason should be talked to. Since reason doesn't work, then I'll try peaceful means before resorting to force. Let him decide the time and place. I'll accompany you to the end. The The staff at the scene were all shocked by Xiangyi's imposing manner. Oh my God! Why does the gentle sister Yi have such a domineering side to her? The viewers in the live stream were all dumbfounded. Oh my God! How is this Sister Yi? This is Brother Yi, Daddy Yi. Chapter 709. When Master Yen received the news, he was also a little dumbfounded. In reality, his martial arts club wasn't run well and he had lost a lot of money. Later on, he relied on being an internet celebrity to reap the benefits. Xiangyi actually agreed to the challenge? This was really beyond his expectations. However, Master Yen smiled contemptuously and didn't take Xiangyi seriously. She's just a young girl. Even if she started practicing martial arts in her mother's womb, she's definitely no match for me. Hashtag Xiangyi agrees to the challenge. Hashtag this term quickly became a hot search and caused a heated discussion among netizens. Some of the netizens were just watching it as a joke, while others were seriously evaluating the combat effectiveness of the two of them. Master Yen may always say some strange things to gain popularity, but his strength is really impressive. He has been practicing martial arts since he was a child. I don't think I need to remind you of the importance of the virgin martial arts, right? Our Sister Yi isn't bad either. I feel that Sister Yi is the type of person in Wuxia novels who is agile. She has quick reflexes and is good at using softness to overcome strength. She's no match for Master Yen. Xiangyi, 5 stars in agility, 3 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. Master Yen, 5 stars in agility, 5 stars in strength, 4 stars in stamina, 4 stars in overall combat effectiveness. From a probability point of view, I think Master Yen will win. Those who said that Sister Yi has 3 stars in strength, haven't you seen the video of her stabbing a mountain peak? The wooden sword pierced through the snake's body and into the tree. She definitely has inner strength. The two sides were arguing endlessly. This night was destined to be chaotic. The next day, Xiangyi had a very regular routine. She woke up early in the morning and exercised for a while before watering the flowers and plants. When she was almost done watering, Shui also came back from her morning run. After making eye contact, Xiangyi said, I just saw the news on Weibo. Master Yen has already booked the location for his new martial arts club. I'll go there myself later. Shui said, I'll go with you. No, I can handle it. In fact, the young girl was still a little worried about losing. She had never had the chance to test her combat effectiveness. Therefore, Xiangyi was not sure what level she was at in this world. In any case, she felt that the most powerful and cruel person in the world was her big brother. Compared to her brother, she would always be a rookie. Do you really think I'm a gigolo? Shui walked closer and flicked her forehead, which was as smooth as porcelain. Your boyfriend is not as weak as you think. He wasn't made of paper. He was just joking around with the little girl, but he felt that Xiangyi really treated him as little Jiao. Xiangyi said embarrassedly, I'm not questioning you. I just don't want to embarrass myself in front of you. Shui said with a faint smile. You lost. I'll avenge you. Xiangyi asked straightforwardly, what if we both die? Then I'll take the beating with you? Xiangyi imagined the scene of her and Shui supporting each other with bruised faces after being violently beaten up. Sigh. I feel like I'm going to be miserable. Sister Yi, Daddy Sure. Get ready, we're going to start the live stream. Li Jianyu and the staff adjusted the equipment, made a hand gesture, and then turned on the live stream. There were hundreds of thousands of loyal fans waiting for the live stream. Seeing the screen lit up, everyone came out to cheer for Xiangyi. However, there were also people who raised concerns. Master Yen has dozens of masters and disciples in his martial arts club. Our Sister Yi only has a few people. I feel like we've lost in terms of momentum. Chapter 710. Yes, even with Shui, Daoist Ren, and Yu, there were only 4 of them. Achoo! Xiang Feng sneezed and walked out of the villa, yelling, Don't think of secretly leaving me behind. He had a habit of staying up late, and making him wake up early was worse than not eating junk food for a month. But even so, Xiang Feng still stubbornly got out of bed. Moreover, he had changed into a t-shirt that people rushed over overnight. The front was printed with, "Tutu is invincible," and the back was, "I am your father." It was a combination of support and hatred, a vivid interpretation of what it meant to make the best use of everything. Everyone seemed to have woken up from a dream. So there was still President Xiang. She hadn't almost forgotten about him. She had completely forgotten about him. For some reason, President Xiang never had a sense of presence. "I'll go with you." Taoist Ren followed closely behind, carrying a peachwood sword on his back and holding a white horsetail whisk in his hand. He smiled slightly and said, "Xiangyi, if you don't mind, I'm willing to hold the fort for you." In addition, he had also prepared a small surprise for Xiangyi. I want to go too." A soft voice came from Shiryu. The little boy was very good at taking care of himself. He dressed and washed up on his own, and even carried a small school bag on his back. However, there were a few strands of hair on his head that were sticking up, making him look extremely adorable. Sensing everyone's intentions, Xiangyi felt a warmth in her heart. "Then let's go together." If she was embarrassed, so be it. She would just take it as a day trip. Xiangyi went to change her clothes. Xiang Feng stayed where he was, urging Taoist Ren and Shiryu to change into the support t-shirts, but was naturally rejected by the two. Since the adults couldn't handle it, Xiang Feng chuckled and reached out his claws to Shiryu. The audience who saw the scene had mixed feelings. There are finally 5 people. Including the staff, there should be about 10 or so, right? But it feels like an amateur team challenging the national team. Xiang Feng is unreliable, but he really doesn't disappoint me. Let Shiryu go, he's still a child. Wow. Xiang Yu's livestream is so good at riding on people's coattails. He even started a livestream for Master Yen. He's trying to steal the traffic. At this moment in the dojo, the staff of Sanyu Broadcasting had arrived at the scene last night and had installed cameras from many angles. The webpage and the app had pop-up recommendations to ensure that users would be able to see Master Yan's live broadcast once they clicked on it. There was no other reason other than the fact that Dianyu Livestream and Xingqian Livestream were competitors. This time, the battle between Xiangyi and Master Yen was undoubtedly a great opportunity for them to fight for viewership. They had already designed a whole set of packaging and marketing plans for Master Yen, intending to push him to become a top internet celebrity. Then, they would imitate 2 under one roof and create a daily variety show in the Martial Arts Center. Every episode, they would invite guests to learn martial arts. After learning, they would cook some delicious food, and after cooking, they would chat about life. Who knows, maybe they'll go viral all over the internet and successfully get promoted to the stars. Then, they'll export it overseas and take down 2 under one roof. Master Yen understood that black and red were also red. As soon as the live broadcast started, he began to say some controversial words. "I advise women not to learn martial arts. It's better for them to stay at home and take care of their husbands and children. They should just do the laundry and cook. Otherwise, you'll end up like Xiangyi and be disfigured by me later. I suggest that she call her brothers and boyfriends over. Even if they attack me together, I have a way to deal with it. I'll definitely be unscathed. You guys don't have to worry about whether I can win or not. What you should worry about is whether Xiangyi can afford to lose. I think she can't afford to lose." Chapter 7:11. Stirring up conflict was always the easiest way to stir up conflict. Nowadays, the simplest thing on the internet was gender. However, as soon as these comments came out, the netizens' emotions were stirred up. Some people cursed at Master Yen, while others clapped their hands and cheered, feeling that Master Yen had spoken their minds. The public opinion instantly turned into a debate about whether women should be good husbands and raise children. Everyone had their own opinions and was in a heated argument. The person in charge of Dianyu Livestream was also at the scene and naturally turned a blind eye to Master Yan's behavior. Anyway, it was fine as long as there was traffic. What was so important about anything else? There were 2 tablets in front of him that were playing 2 under one roof and Master Yan's livestream at the same time. Seeing that Xiangyi and the others were about to arrive at the Martial Arts Center, the person in charge gave the order with a confident smile on his face. Soon, Xiangyi would experience what it meant to be crushed. The black van stopped in front of the martial arts center. In order to promote the martial arts center, Master Yen made the address public and there was a huge crowd at the scene. Fortunately, Ruan Qing had the foresight to find an official and private security company to maintain order. Xiangyi got out of the car. She was dressed in a white sportswear, looking clean and youthful. There was a heated discussion in the crowd. Wow, she's indeed a celebrity. She's so beautiful in person. Sister Yi's face is so small. I feel like my face is twice as big as hers. I feel good watching live streams. She's too skinny. She can't take a beating. After Shi Sui got out of the car, the cheers at the scene reached a peak. In addition to the strong popularity, many of Shi Sui's sisters also rushed to the scene. Shi Sui! Shi Sui! Hearing a few hysterical voices, Shi Sui's gaze fell on the crowd and he gently gestured for them to keep quiet. As if by magic, the crowd really quieted down. Shi Sui nodded slightly as a form of greeting. There was nothing wrong with her etiquette and demeanor. Everyone entered the martial arts center. Xiangyi and the others were all dressed in sportswear and were dressed casually. Obviously, they didn't take the battle very seriously. However, Master Yen was different. He was wearing a black practice suit with golden embroidery on it. It looked quaint and textured. His disciples, on the other hand, were all dressed in white training clothes with black belts around their waists. They looked very ostentatious. The audience in the live stream could clearly feel the difference. You 1s1, Master Yen and the others are really impressive. Sister E and the others are too shabby. They're completely relying on their looks. Ha ha ha. Sure you has nothing left to live for. He's wearing that I am your father t-shirt until it's almost up to his ankles. Master Yen looked Xiangyi up and down, his nostrils overflowing with a light sneer. You? Little girl, I advise you to go back and practice. Do you know how to do the horse stance? Can you do it for half an hour at a time? What you plagiarized was only my school of Yan swordsmanship and Tai Chi. But the true essence of my school of Yen is the basics. Xiangyi interrupted him. If you want to fight, then fight. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Master Yen flew into a rage out of humiliation. Young man, you don't understand etiquette. You don't have any morals. The dozens of disciples behind him also pointed at Xiangyi and mocked her. All of a sudden, Taoist Run said loudly, before the official competition, let's welcome fellow Taoist Min from Baiyun Temple, fellow Taoist Su from Jade Spring Temple, fellow Taoist Yu from Yongla Palace. Master Yen was speechless. What? You're calling for external help? Chapter 7:12. He looked at the door with a dumbfounded expression. Several Taoist priests and Taoist nuns, who were either dressed in Taoist robes or training attire, entered. Those who were familiar with contemporary Taoist culture would know that they were all big shots. There was an uproar in the live stream. Wow! Are these Taoist priests here to watch the battle? Impressive. They actually managed to invite so many big shots. I wonder who they're doing this for? Is it Sister E or Master Yen? Taoist Ren was still introducing them loudly. Fellow Taoist Zhang from Mount Song Temple. Fellow Taoist Wang from Yellow Dragon Temple. Master Yan's fans immediately rushed to comment in the live stream. These experts are obviously here for our Master Yen. Xiangyi is just a woman. How could she possibly know people of this level? Master Yen has traveled the world and has a wide range of friends. It's normal for him to have some friends to help him in the battle. They said it confidently, but they were immediately slapped in the face. After listening to Taoist Ren's eloquent recitation of dozens of names, Taoist Ren leisurely said, "Thank you, fellow Taoists, for coming to support our little friend Xiangyi." There was an uproar. These Taoist priests are all here for Xiangyi? In other words, these big shots are all here to support Xiangyi. Xiangyi herself was quite confused. Her little head, which was tied into a bun, tilted as she curiously sized up the people who had come. These new Taoist priests looked at Xiangyi with a very friendly gaze. Although it was their first time meeting her, they seemed to have seen Xiangyi many times. Little friend Xiangyi, Do your best and don't have any regrets. Calm your mind and don't let the outside world disturb you. It doesn't matter if you lose. In life, let nature take its course and let fate take its course. A lot of chicken soup for the soul was sent to Xiangyi. Xiangyi, thank you. The live stream viewers? Sister E is so popular. Oh my God. Who said Sister E doesn't have any face? With dozens of Taoist priests, I just want to ask, who? Does? Who? Master Yen is so lowly, I feel like his disciples are extras hired for 50 yuan a day. Sister E is a gathering of big shots. Grandmaster Yen steadied his heart and opened his mouth to distort the truth. Heh! You think that by using such methods to pressure me, I will waver? You're underestimating the martial artists of the sect of the Yen sect. I'll never give in the dark. The expressions of the disciples behind him changed. As expected of Master, Xiang Feng rolled his eyes and ridiculed. Can you cut down on your acting? Let me tell you, when it comes to acting, we have professionals here. Shi Sui Master Yen shivered when he met Shi Sui's gaze. For some reason, the young man's gaze made his heart palpitate for no reason. His aura was too terrifying. Master Yen avoided Shi Sui's gaze and cupped his hands at Xiangyi. I'm Yen Dezhuang from the sect of the Yen sect. Please enlighten me. Xiangyi, what a ritualistic gesture. She was about to say a few perfunctory words when her uncle Xiang Feng beat her to it. She's the successor of the god of cookery, the personal disciple of the medical sage, the giver of the muse, the girl of magic, the queen of martial arts, the guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm. It's her Xiangyi. Master Yen? Everyone? The live stream viewers? Xiangyi. Xiangyi was so embarrassed that she wanted to dig out a demon immortal castle with her toes. Chapter 7:13. After Xiang Feng finished bragging, he still felt like he hadn't had enough. My little niece is the cutest and most outstanding kid in the world. I can't praise her too much. Sure you, who was at the side, nodded repeatedly. Yes, Grandpa is right. Sister Xiangyi is just that good. The comments section of the live stream was filled with laughter. I'm laughing so hard that my head is about to explode. It's such a pity that Mr. Xiang isn't a talk show host. The magical girl, the martial arts queen, the guardian goddess of Little Rabbit Farm, ha 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 ha. After the exchange of moves, Master Yen began his performance. He first got into a horse stance, then pushed forward with both hands, looking like he was trying to circulate his qi. Xiangyi had developed a good habit of being cautious when she transmigrated, which was not to underestimate any opponent, even if the other party looked weak. She observed Master Yen and did not act rashly. However, the other party's behavior confused her greatly. After circulating his qi, Master Yen circled around her again and again. From time to time, he would make strange sounds like meh and hiya. Xiangyi was speechless. The girl frowned. She suspected that the other party was pretending to be a tactic. He was pretending to be crazy to hide his true strength. But in fact, he was waiting for an opportunity to kill her in one blow. Master Yan's fans thought so too. You guys think Master Yen is on the first floor? But you don't know that he's on the 5th floor. He's predicting Xiangyi's movements. With this kind of strength, he's probably a peerless expert, a half-step master. Seeking changes in changes, Master Yan's skills have improved again. Through rapid movements, he can deduce mysterious countermeasures. With his basic skills and flexible fighting style, Master Yen is in the bag. However, in the eyes of most people, the battle between the two of them was so boring. Please, Sister E, move. Please, Master Yen, stop circling around. Some haters who didn't mind watching the show roared in the comments section. You guys can't kill him like this? Xiang Feng was extremely nervous and kept asking Shi Sui, how is it? Do you think little Xiangyi can beat this old man? Shi Sui looked at him quietly. For some reason, Xiang Feng saw a trace of pity in his eyes. Taoist Ren and the others had a rough idea of what was going on. This Grandmaster Yen was just a pretty face. He reckoned that he had Tongzi Gong, but it was obvious that he had abandoned it. His footsteps were light and his lower body was unstable. It was obvious that he had abandoned himself to the world of mortals and had abandoned practicing martial arts. Although it looked imposing, it was only enough to scare laymen. "It's not too late for you to admit defeat now," Master Yen roared. Xiang Yi? Was he going to use his mouth to attack? Master Yen thought that he had confused Xiang Yi. So he threw a punch at Xiang Yi's face. Xiang Yi dodged sideways. Because of Master Yan's action, an argument broke out in the live stream. Some people felt that no matter what, they shouldn't hit someone in the face, not to mention that Xiang Yi was an artist. There were also some people who felt that a martial arts competition was a martial arts competition. Was there a need to differentiate between men and women, old and young? The two of them exchanged a few moves. Basically, it was Master Yen attacking and Xiang Yi defending. Master Yen was ecstatic. He won. He definitely won. This Xiang Yi was obviously a noob. Ah! With a sudden scream, Master Yen was kicked to the ground by Xiang Yi. He lay on the ground, unable to move. The audience was so silent that one could hear a pin drop. Xiang Yi had KO'd Master Yen with one move. The little girl looked confused and muttered to herself, That's it. Chapter 7:14. No, this must be a tactic. There must be a backup plan. The girl calmed herself down and looked serious, ready to land the killing blow at any time. But 1 second passed, 10 seconds passed, half a minute passed in the blink of an eye. Master Yen was still lying on the ground like he was dead. The live stream viewers. What's going on? Is he dead? Sister Yi's flying kick was so cool. I want to learn that. What happened to being the successor of Yen's school? That's it? That's it? Is she made of paper? The referee was invited by Master Yen. He originally wanted to be biased towards Master Yen, but in the face of everyone's burning gazes, he blushed. Ahem. I announced that Xiang Yi is the winner of this match. The verdict was final. Xiang Yi was even more confused as confusion appeared on her milky white face. I won? The girl's reaction was so adorable. Sister Yi is super cute, super dumb, and super fierce, ha ha ha. Master Yan's disciples were all dumbfounded. No way, Master lost just like that? The person in charge of Dianyu livestream fell into a chair. It's over. His face was pale as his lips quivered. Dianyu livestream had spent a lot of manpower, material, and financial resources to promote this match. He even promised his boss that through this livestream, Dianyu livestream would attract traffic and create a popular livestream variety show. But now, it had become a farce. Grandmaster Yen was simply like a jumping clown, and he was a big idiot who had been played by a clown. Xiang Feng shouted, Hey, the outcome has been decided. Old man, hurry up and get up. Don't try to scam us. Master Yen still did not move. His disciples reacted and wailed loudly, Master. Everyone gathered around, only to find that Master Yen had fainted. For a moment, the scene was filled with people pinching each other and dialing 120. It was chaos. Finally, Master Yen slowly regained consciousness. With the help of his disciples, he barely managed to stand up. As soon as he opened his mouth, he scolded, Young man, you sneak attacked me when I wasn't paying attention. I was careless and didn't dodge. Martial artists of our generation should stand in the open. Humph. I advise you to take care of yourself. The 30,000 disciples of the Gate of Yen will not let you go. Xiang Yi? Grandpa, you're obviously trying to blackmail me. Just as the young lady was speechless, her uncle had already pulled her down to the ground. Xiang Feng spouted some nonsense with a straight face. Io, your skills are really impressive, old man. He had actually transformed his external strength into internal strength. It was truly terrifying. Damn it, he actually used his internal energy to sneak attack us. Master Yen? F***K. When did I have internal strength? You little bastard. Beep. Infuriate this old man to death. Beep. Ah! Countless silenced profanities flashed through Master Yan's mind like a bullet screen. Shi Yu's eyes widened. Xiang Feng's actions were completely different from the gentlemanly education he had received. It had a strong impact on his worldview. However, for Sister Xiangyi, the little Shota clenched his little fists and quickly lay down beside Xiang Feng and Xiangyi. Looking at the three people lying down neatly, Master Yen and his disciples were dumbfounded. However, this scene poked at countless people's funny spots. The popularity of the live stream did not decrease but instead increased. The number of viewers was even higher than when Xiangyi and Master Yen fought. Xiang Feng, forever a god in the Pengxi world, assure you is also lying down. This child has been led astray. Oh my god! It's okay to scam each other. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 7:15. Master Yen reacted and was so angry that his beard and hair stood on end. You young people don't talk about martial arts ethics. The next second, Xiang Feng screamed, "Ah, Master Yen, you actually plotted against us again." Sure, you also shouted expressionlessly, "Ah." It was very soulless. Xiangyi. The little girl had a hard time holding back her laughter. Her slender shoulders trembled. Master Yen was about to go crazy. What evidence do you have to prove that I hurt you? You're playing me. The next second, a series of low coughs could be heard. That sound seemed to be the result of trying hard to be surprised but unable to control it. There was a trace of vulnerability in the pitiful voice, a trace of strength in the vulnerability, and a trace of pain in the strength. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound and saw Shi Sui's slender fingertips on his lips. His peach blossom eyes were stained with water vapor, dark and wet. Sensing everyone's gaze, he raised his eyes and struggled to pull the corners of his mouth. He frowned uncomfortably and said, "Master Yen, you're right. You didn't use your internal strength to sneak an attack on us. See, there's finally someone who understands. Did you hear what he said?" Master Yen was anxious to seek confirmation from others. Little did he know. The netizens who thought he was a fool just now felt that Master Yen was something. Otherwise, why would Shi Sui be like this? At a glance, it was obvious that he had suffered internal injuries, but he was still holding it in. He must have said that on purpose for Xiangyi's sake. He was afraid that Xiangyi would be hurt by Master Yen again. This kind of spirit of loving his girlfriend more than his face was too touching. Even Master Yan's disciples were shaken. Could it be that Master really had internal strength? So all this time, Master had been holding back from us? Was he pretending? Many people instantly felt alienated from Master Yen. Even the onlooking staff couldn't help but point at him. It's a little too much. Master Yen is too much of a bully. He even said that Sister Yi sneaked an attack. I think he was the one who did it. Master Yen was about to vomit blood. He said that I don't have internal strength. I didn't sneak an attack on them. Unfortunately, when it came to acting, a certain best actor was truly a professional. Even if it was just a casual performance, the sense of immersion and empathy were extremely strong. Cough, cough. Shi Sui coughed a little harder. Her lips were pale and she looked like she would fall to the ground in the next second. He knelt down beside Xiangyi on one knee and said, "That's right, great Master Yen. Didn't do anything? Cough, cough, cough. Sister Yi, are you okay? I'm sorry for not being able to protect you." Xiangyi panicked. What's wrong with you?" The little girl was so concerned that she was confused and thought that he was really feeling unwell. Just as she was about to get up to take his pulse, Shi Sui raised his hand to caress her cheek. Of course, at an angle that was not easily noticed by others, the man's palm covered her lips. He winked at the girl. Xiangyi! Exclamation point. Very good, her boyfriend has also learned bad things. At this time, Taoist Ren and the others also spoke up. Sai, it's just a martial arts competition. Don't go overboard, great Master Yen. Look at how badly you've hurt these young people. Don't go too far. Great Master Yen, you're attacking indiscriminately. No, I can't take it anymore. Great Master Yan's eyes were about to pop out. Ah, damn it. What kind of lineup is this? Chapter 7:16. Master Yen was infuriated. The livestream viewers, on the other hand, were delighted. Ha ha ha. Everyone is so evil. Master Yan's expression can be screenshotted and used as an emoji pack. I'm dying of laughter. Shui, you won the Best Actor award 3 times just to act as Master Yan today, right? It's over. The words "that's it, terrifying" and "immoral" are all on repeat in my head. The person in charge of Denyu livestream realized that the popularity of the livestream was high on the internet, but, damn it, why did everyone go to Xingshan livestream? They all went to the livestream of Two Under One Roof. In fact, it could be considered a coincidence for Xingshan livestream. The promotion of Denyu livestream had been focused on the martial arts competition in the early stages, while Xingshan livestream promoted Shui's sister Yi as a one-day tour. As a result, the audience's expectations were completely different. The viewers of Denyu livestream wanted to watch the martial arts competition. Once the competition ended and Master Yan lost, it would be meaningless. However, Xingshan livestream was different. Everyone had always watched it on that day, but they didn't expect it to be so silly. It was so funny. Life was already hard enough. What was the point of watching live streams and variety shows? Wasn't it just for fun? Two Under One Roof had achieved that. In fact, it had reached a perfect level. It was also worth mentioning that Xingshan livestream didn't expect Denyu livestream to lead them in the opposite direction. Perhaps, Shui's sister Yi really has a halo of luck? At the martial arts center, Xiang Feng was worried that he would really infuriate the old man. So he found a way out and pulled his niece and the others up to leave. Now that things had gotten to this point, Master Yan had completely lost, be it in terms of face or ability. However, he was really thick-skinned and changed the angle of his attack to Xiangyi. Your swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from the Yen school, so it can't be considered as my loss. At the end of the day, you used my family's inheritance to defeat me. Xiangyi realized that the other party wasn't a real martial artist at all. He was just a funny clown. The girl's eyes were calm. How can you prove that my swordsmanship and Tai Chi are plagiarized from your family's inheritance? Of course, Master Yan couldn't prove it. Martial arts had been passed down since ancient times. It could be said that many clans and sects had their own legacies. It was nothing more than you influencing me and I influencing you. Everyone fought together and improved. Of course, this did not exclude the existence of unique techniques. Master Yan thought he had found a way to refute Xiangyi. So he asked, "Then how can you prove that you didn't plagiarize my work?" This move was too damaging and too ruthless. This was like comparing the perpetrator and the victim. They did not ask the perpetrator why he hurt others and why he did evil. Instead, he asked the victim, "Why do you think the perpetrator wanted to harm you? Why did it have to be you and not someone else?" Master Yan thought that Xiangyi wouldn't be able to defend herself. Just as he was about to take advantage of the situation, he heard the girl say, "What a coincidence. I can really prove it." Master Yan was confused. Xiang Feng promptly handed over a few thick ancient books, but they were all photocopies. The original had been donated to the museum by the Xiang family. My swordsmanship and taiji were inherited from my grandfather. Tracing back hundreds of years, they are all recorded in the family tree. The netizens were shocked. Not only did she have evidence, but she also had solid evidence. Thor's hammer. Master Yan was confused. Chapter 717. Master Yan was in despair. No, he was in utter despair. He had been a scammer for many years and had never tasted defeat. But today, not only did he lose to scammers, he was even beaten to the ground. Did he say that Xiangyi is a noob? In the end, he was KO'd. Did he say that Xiangyi plagiarized? In the end, she has her own heritage. That's infuriating. The netizens laughed even more merrily because of this dramatic turn of events. Master Yan, you have to pay for what you've done. Wow, the Xiang family has a heritage of hundreds of years. Sister Yi is really rich and beautiful. Master Yan, what does it feel like to hit an iron plate? I'll show you guys now. Even if Master Yan wanted to quibble, all his words were meaningless in the face of real evidence. You plagiarized. Even if you didn't, it means that your ancestors plagiarized from our family. Anyway, the Yen school's heritage is the best. You're bullying an old man like me just because you're young. I was careless and fell into your trap. Master Yen repeated those words over and over again, but unfortunately, no one wanted to listen to him anymore. Those who tried to curry favor with others were most afraid of losing the attention of others. The way Great Master Yan's disciples looked at him had changed as well. They suddenly sobered up as if the clouds had cleared. Previously, it was as if Master Yen had drugged them. Whatever he said, they believed it to be true. In fact, after thinking about it carefully, they realized that his words couldn't withstand the scrutiny of logic at all. At this moment, Master Yen had yet to realize that today was an important turning point in his life from an internet celebrity to an internet hater. Retribution has finally come. Xiangyi had no intention of arguing with Master Yen anymore. She had used her martial prowess to defend her dignity and also used solid evidence to prove her innocence. That was enough. Shall we go out to eat today? I know a good private restaurant where I can invite all of you to have a taste, Xiangyi suggested. The Taoist masters were particularly interested in her talismans, so they naturally agreed. At the door, a clear voice of a young man suddenly sounded. Miss Yang, please wait. This voice sounded a little familiar? Xiangyi turned her head and saw a tall figure hurrying through the crowd. It was a young man of about 17 or 18 years old. He was wearing a clean navy blue training suit with a long sword on his back. He had delicate facial features and fair skin. His expression was gentle and shy. Xiangyi recognized him. Xu Xinglan. Speaking of which, the two families could be considered old friends. The Xiang clan had practiced medicine for many generations and had also passed down sword manuals, fist techniques, and the like, but most of them were used to strengthen the body. The Xu clan was different. Basically, the entire clan was a martial arts fanatic. In ancient times, they had founded a sect, and now they had opened a martial arts dojo. Xiangyi and Xu Xinglan had met a few times, and he didn't talk much. At most, he would say a few words about swordsmanship. Hello, Miss Yang. Xu Xinglan cautiously nodded her head in greeting and cupped her fists towards Xiangyi. Long time no see. Sorry for offending you. Can I have a match with you? The young man's eyes were full of bright light. Shi Sui squinted slightly and decided not to make a move for the time being. However, the audience in the live stream got excited. I can do this, brother. He stutters nervously when he speaks. I'm dead. You women have double standards. Lu Neng stutters too. Why isn't anyone praising him? Such a cute brother. Sister E is going to beat him to tears. Hurry up. Chapter 7:18. Are you the devil? There was a huge increase in traffic to Xingchen's live stream, and the comments section of the live stream was extremely lively. However, the online traffic of Pian Yu's live stream dropped again and again. No one wanted to see Master Yen quibble in a pathetic state. Since Pian Yu had signed a contract with Master Yen, the cameras were all facing him. What the netizens wanted to see was the battle between Xiangyi and Xu Xinglan. Hence, the heartless netizens began to download Xingchen's live stream on the spot, contributing another batch of users to Xingchen's live stream. Competition? Xiangyi asked in bewilderment. You should look for a professional then. She was just an amateur with mediocre skills. It was no exaggeration to say that Xu Xinglan had been practicing swordsmanship since he was a child. If there were standards for swordsmanship like other sports, he would definitely be a national team player. Xu Xinglan was speechless. Miss Yang, do you have a serious misunderstanding about me? I've seen the video of you subduing Feng Shan. You're very impressive. Stabbing a wooden sword into a snake's body was something that anyone who practiced swordsmanship for years could do. However, piercing a tree trunk was not something that ordinary people could do. Xiangyi said, well, I just used a little bit of force. If you're interested, I can teach you how to exert force. The young man was stunned. She actually wants to teach me such a powerful technique so casually? Xu Xinglan immediately felt ashamed. His family had taught him since he was a child that swordsmanship was not to be taught to outsiders, and all the opponents he encountered also abided by this principle. He finally understood how narrow-minded he and those people were. Miss Xiang's mindset is extraordinary. Please, agree to my request. The young man's fingertips trembled slightly, and he said in an embarrassed but firm tone, Please! He bowed to Xiangyi. Everyone thought, Wow, this young man is quite persistent. Xiangyi's cherry lips moved, but she really couldn't bring herself to turn him down. She said helplessly, Okay, shall we begin now? Xu Xinglan's eyes lit up and he nodded vigorously. Xiangyi, my little friend, I'll lend you my sword. The enthusiastic Rendaoist took out his peach-wood sword and tossed it to Xiangyi. The girl casually caught it. Xu Xinglan also took out his sword. Whenever he went out, he would use a wooden sword due to the ban on weapons. The people of the Xu family loved swords to the point that they treated their swords as their wives. Therefore, even if it was a wooden sword, the scabbard was incomparably exquisite and gorgeous. The young man slowly pulled out his sword. There were patterns engraved on the blade of the sword. They were all personally carved by him using a carving knife. Please enlighten me. You flatter me. Viewers in the live stream. Oh my God. I feel like my brother is an expert. His aura is completely different from that of Master Yin. Brother's sword is so beautiful. You want to snatch your brother's sword away? Watch him get angry and cry. Little brother seems to be a sword cultivator from a Xianxia novel. And Sister E. She's so cool and beautiful when she's holding the sword. The two exchanged a few pleasantries, and without wasting any more words, they began to exchange blows. Bang! Crack! The wooden swords clashed, producing a sound that made people's hearts jump. The two silhouettes were light and agile. They moved so quickly that the camera could barely capture them. From time to time, afterimages would appear. Not far away, the person in charge of Denyu Broadcasting sneered. What's so interesting about a martial arts competition? Everyone must have run away by now. The assistant at the side said shakily, I just looked at their data. Not only did they not run away, there are even more people. The person in charge was speechless. Are netizens' preferences so unpredictable these days? All of a sudden, with a loud clang, a wooden sword fell to the ground and broke. Chapter 719. For a moment, everyone's attention was drawn to the scene. Xiangyi stared blankly at the broken sword on the ground and pursed her lips. The two of them were too fast. At this time, the camera happened to focus on Xiangyi's back, creating a blind spot. The audience couldn't see clearly at all and were all asking questions. Whose sword is broken? The room was extremely quiet. A moment later, a small sob sounded in everyone's ears. This voice was. The camera panned and landed on Xu Xinglan. Everyone could see his expression clearly. The fair and delicate youth clenched his fists tightly. There was nothing in his hands at this time. The youth's beautiful eyes were red and misty, but he stubbornly held back his tears. He was really too pitiful. Everyone. Xu Xinglan's sword was broken. Xiangyi looked at him and blamed herself. I am sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. I was too strong. I didn't expect you to. Her words came to an abrupt end. Obviously, the girl realized that what she was about to say was inappropriate. However, this had the opposite effect. Xu Xinglan's clear eyes became even redder. His thin shoulders couldn't help but tremble slightly. He bit his lip hard. He had lost. And he had lost so quickly. He had practiced swordsmanship for decades, but in front of Xiangyi, he couldn't even last 20 moves. For the first time, Xu Xinglan began to doubt himself. Was he really talented in swordsmanship? Was he really capable? Could he really continue? Xiangyi blamed herself. She thought that she would lose, so she wanted to give it her all and leave no regrets. But she didn't expect. Her brother was a little weak. First, she was just testing him. Later, she tried to counterattack. She didn't expect that she would accidentally. Then he would win. Secondly, she accidentally broke her brother's sword. She heard that the Xu family treated their swords as their wives. This was practically the hatred of killing one's wife. If she had known, she would have gone easy on him. I was just lucky just now. Xiangyi tried to salvage the situation. Why don't we do it again? This time, she would definitely use 50%. No, 10% of her strength. She originally thought that Xu Xinglan would readily agree, but she didn't expect that the youth would act as if he had been greatly insulted. His voice was tinged with an aggrieved sob. There's no need. You win. Tears quickly gathered in his eyes. The young man, who had never cried no matter how hard he trained with the sword since he was young, suddenly shed a large tear. I lost. Xiangyi panicked. Why was she crying? In the live stream, countless sisters were screaming, "Aw, Sister E, well done. He's really crying now. When I see a girl crying, I want to hand her a tissue. When I see my brother crying, my heart itches. I want him to cry even harder. Dog head? Little brother, I can take this crying tone. I'm sure it'll sound great on the balcony, in the study, and in the kitchen." After Xu Xinglan admitted defeat, his emotions completely collapsed. His entire person was on the verge of collapse, as if he would fall to the ground at any moment. Xiangyi hurriedly touched her pocket. Fortunately, she had brought a lot of sweets to coax Shiryu. Just as she was about to give them to Xu Xinglan, her small hand was suddenly wrapped by a pair of large hands. In the next second, his fair and well-defined fingers slowly took the sweets from her hand, and at the same time, gently rubbed the girl's soft palm. It was slightly ticklish. Xiangyi couldn't help but curl her small hand. Then, she saw Shui walk up to Xu Xinglan, stuff a piece of candy into his hand, and comforted him emotionlessly. "Be good, don't cry." Xiangyi? It seemed like something was not quite right. Chapter 720. The girl wasn't the only one who found this scene strange. Shui's words instantly caused an uproar in the live streaming room. Huh? Shuringdi, there's something wrong with you. Black-bellied best actor pitiful sword cultivator. DBQ, I can do it again. Although I know this D***MN man is jealous and doesn't want Sister E to give him candies, I still feel like I've bumped into him. Xu Xinglan looked away and said stubbornly, I don't need anyone's pity. If his voice had not been sobbing, perhaps this sentence would have been more convincing. Shui said indifferently, Why should I pity you? Do you think Sister E is also very pitiful? Xu Xinglan subconsciously retorted, I didn't. In my eyes, you are Sister Yi's opponent, an opponent worthy of respect. Victory and defeat are common occurrences. Why should we be bothered by temporary gains and losses? And in Xu Xinglan's eyes, the man in front of him was handsome, noble, cultured, and elegant. His temperament was as warm as the spring breeze in March. Every word he said seemed to touch the bottom of his heart. This brother was such a nice person. He subconsciously let down his guard and muttered, Miss Xiang, you've made me understand today that I'm just a frog at the bottom of a well. She's a mountain that I can't climb over. What was even more terrifying than the attack was the dimensional reduction attack. You struggled with all your might, but the other party only took out a small piece of paper, and it was more crushing than Mount Tai. Shui smiled and gave him a heartwarming speech. You're still young and have a bright future. How do you know what you'll be like in the future? The naive young man who had been obsessed with swords since he was a child had no idea what Shui was thinking. This little brat is really annoying. I understand. Xu Xinglan lowered her head in shame and clenched her fists tightly. I won't give up. One day, I'll challenge Miss Xiang again. What brother meant was that as long as she worked hard, she would have a chance to surpass Miss Xiang. It was true that listening to a wise man's words was better than studying for 10 years. The youth felt that today's harvest was too great. Not only did he realize that there was always someone better than him out there in terms of swordsmanship, he also felt enlightened in terms of thoughts. The way Xu Xinglan looked at Shui